a seat, put on your headphones, press play. We're live right now. Okay. Tap mute on all those because right here specifically.
Hello, guys, and welcome in. We are about to do something really fun here, Chris. I've got my buddy Chris here in the booth with me. I am Nick, and we are about to review the Heads Up tournament that just went down a couple of days ago. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking, Nick.
Awesome, man. And you were actually a part of this tournament, right?
Yes, sir. Well, I won't give any spoilers away, but I got to play this, what turned out to be an 8-person heads-up bracket, and it was a lot of fun. I'm glad I got to partake. It's such a rare opportunity that you get to play heads-up live, and so it was fun to jump in and test out my skills.
No doubt, my man. I'm excited to review this footage. And right here, we're about to get started with you guys with some round 1 footage. It looks like we have got, is this OFC on the left?
Yeah.
OFC against Harvey,
That's
the
right.
kid who just had a great result in the mystery bounty down the street. Let's go ahead and click this play button and get started here.
Yeah, so for those of you that have been following at all, you've seen we've had 2 matches recorded on stream, one that I played and then one against 2 other players. And so this is the 3rd match that gets recorded. It's a round 1 match for these 2 players. Where do I press?
Right here.
There we go.
There we go. And we are off. So let's maybe take this off of here so we can get rid of that. And we're off, boys. All right, guys, let's do some poker.
Can we make this side big?
No.
No?
I'm sorry. You can't. That's
It doesn't matter.
the Streamlabs side. And guys, we're right here getting started. This is going to be 100-100. First blind level. These guys started with
10,000.
10,000, which is 100 big blinds, and that is great that we've got those big blinds in parentheses there. That is
Yeah.
very useful for tournament setup here. Looks like the first pot is just a single limped pot with a little stab and a fold. Nice. This is going to be fun to watch, actually. A lot of interesting characters in this lineup. Already excited to see this one right here. OFC and Harvey both becoming very notable names in the DFW poker community. Joey Big Pigtails saying, "Greetings, humans." Who are you calling human? Speak for yourself, bud.
I'm a little surprised to see Harvey check Queen 5 on the button rather than raise. I personally would choose to raise that hand. But
It's like just a little small ball to get started. I think it's fine. It's just like one in a whole sea of hands that I feel like could kind of go either way.
definitely.
And on the turn, OFC takes a little stab and then gets it through on the end. Comes twice. Harvey calls once. They both had that gut shot, and then, oh no, that was open-ender, wasn't it? Both turned an open-ender, and then Queen high folds.
So, from what I know, Harvey and OFC have played quite a bit with each other in the full ring high stakes games, like 10 and a quarter. And so that should make for a more interesting dynamic between these two. Obviously, heads up is completely different atmosphere.
Yeah, we see OFC is going to come in with the raise with the offsuit ace-4, and he comes to 4x. That's a really interesting decision there. I know that very subtle thing, whether he raises to 200 or 300 or 400 there.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I bet, well, I would guess if OFC went 2 or 3x that Harvey would choose to defend Queen 7.
Right, exactly. So you can see how that difference actually played out immediately. And I'm curious if OFC is just going to be raising all of his hands to 400 because they're very deep right now, and he wants to build pots that are going to actually impact their stacks, or if he is raising to that size specifically with that kind of hand. We'll have to pay attention to see if he raises to other sizes here on future buttons.
So it looks like on this hand, Harvey limp calls, or check calls, I should say, which I think makes sense.
I think my strategy, having the button with a 1-1, would be to just do a ton of min raising instead of checking. I want to take the lead and like have some initiative to bet on flops and uncap my range. I don't want to. I mean, it feels like it barely costs anything different, and there are a lot of hands you're going to do that to 200 and then fold if he 3-bets, but I want to put him to the decision to 3-bet. I want to put him into the defense role here. It's sort of neutral if it goes check a lot.
I was going to say I like this line by OFC, but I wouldn't be ready to fold my queen on the turn versus someone who I mean, when we check the flop, we're kind of like trying to start inducing some bluffs, and I think we have to be a little stickier heads up and at least call twice before deciding whether or not to get rid of our hand on the river. But he does let it go, and Harvey picks up a nice little pot with a bluff. Start off the match.
And here we see OFC opening the queen 8 offsuit on the button. He does go 300 this time, so he is using multiple sizings there. Very interesting. I want to keep an eye on that. Checks through on the flop. OFC checks back the second pair. Feels like a hand that could kind of go either way. See merit to both, betting or checking. On the turn, Harvey's going to check raise him. He's got the goods.
Nice. I took this exact same line with a straight of checking twice, planning to check raise turn. Well, actually the board paired on mine and I check called. But I like this line. I think it's a good hand to mix in. Have some tricky plays.
Yeah, for sure. Feels like a board that OFC is going to delay c-bet a lot. And actually, I'm a little bit surprised that he didn't call on the turn. Wouldn't have been surprised to see him peel there. It's way different doing commentary for heads-up play versus the full ring.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't know if I like it. It's too fast for me. In the full rig, it takes so long for action to develop. Here, it's flying.
Yeah, it's just one of the things that makes heads up so fun to play is that you're like constantly making a poker decision.
Sure,
you know?
yeah.
You're not having to like fold and wait and be patient.
Oh, for sure, it's fun to play.
Yeah.
I was just commenting that it's a different animal doing commentary for it.
No, I understand.
So Harvey opened this one up on the button. C-bets and takes it down.
And the nature of heads up is that you're going to get a lot of these types of hands where both players see a flop, and then mostly whoever bets first or whoever is in position is going to win often when both players miss.
OFC checks. Harvey raises to 500. So he goes really big. And I'm wondering, do you think Harvey's raising to 500 on all of his big blinds after button checks? Or do you think he has multiple sizings from there as well?
I think it's hard to say until we see more, but I like the
What would you predict, though? Will we see another open in this level to a different size?
I would
5x?
I would predict that he's going to use that size the same size for all of his raises. That would be my prediction.
Checks the queen 5 suited here.
I think that he expects OFC to have a lot of continues after, being in position, whether or not he's checked the button. And since they're deep, he just wants to charge the in position player to continue.
Yeah, and you see why Harvey checks the button here when he could have raised, and this hand seems like a good candidate to raise. It's because you are going to get raised out of the big blind a fair amount of the time, and you want to have some nice comfy defends like this one. So he can just call, keep that range nice and strong, because generally speaking, it would tend to be very, very weak when you have the option to raise your button and choose to check instead. So you got to be creative to find hands that want to defend and then be able to play some boards. A great flop for him here. Calls.
Yeah, and I like his decision to bet this turn. The 8 obviously gives us some extra equity to the gutter.
Yeah, no doubt.
And
that was like a slam dunkaroo.
We have a clear semi-bluffing hand.
For sure. I almost feel like I would go bigger than 800.
I think the 9 is a good card to continue telling the story. Can have a lot of 7x in range here.
Oh, he gives up. It's a good decision this time. And you do have to think that when OFC calls on the turn after C betting, he's got some kind of showdown value by that point. Or at the very least, like a very good draw.
I'd be curious to see if OFC would have called a sizable river bet with just one pair there. Sounds like he's saying he would.
I don't know if that's on the... There we go. I don't think that's us. I think that's on the recording of the... Sorry about that, guys. What's up to our chat out there? We got 13 of you guys in here with us. We're just getting started. This is like a 3-hour broadcast. This is the Heads Up tournament that was played this week here at Poker House of Dallas. This is the first round of it. We got Harvey against OFC. Winner will advance. This is an 8-person tournament playing down to a champion. We're going to have a match for you from the first round, the second round, and the third round of this tournament. Third and final round. And these two right here are kind of titans of the live stream, or becoming so.
Yeah, so this Heads Up tournament was a $700 buy-in, as you can see right there on the screen. And was originally anticipated for some more players. But I'm curious what you guys in the chat, what your threshold would be for having an interest in playing a Heads Up tournament. Maybe like $300 would get some more players in here. You guys let us know. Or is Heads Up just not something that catches a lot of attention?
Dr. S wants to know if this is a winner-take-all tournament. The top 2 spots got paid. Is that right, Chris?
Yes, sir.
We've got a pot brewing here, too. OFC. River's the straight. Big bet. Harvey gets away. Sorry, I missed that hand. That's the thing right here about doing the heads up. You can't really drift away to the chat or anything for very long, or the action's happening so fast. Sorry for these pop-ups, guys. This is a recording of the tournament this weekend. This is from computer, so we don't have any control over those. OFC picks up the 2 queens here.
Goes to raise and then decides to check.
Yeah, that was really interesting right there. It also looked like Harvey was already reaching to check, so I'm surprised that he decided to do that. checks, and OFC seeing that ace out there, it's got to be disappointing because now he's like, this is going to be a small pot no matter what. Good chance he still has the best hand, but yeah, he just bets 100 and then checks. And then now maybe he'll bet another 100 or 2, or it's actually a one-liner. He'll probably just check and hope he's good. He is good, but always disappointing when you were reaching to raise and then decide to check your button and end up winning 200 with your queens.
Whenever I have a pair, it's a one-card straight.
Lego over here in the chat pulling up the top points. These guys are so loyal for the points, dude. They're here for the points. Do you ever gamble your points, Chris?
Don't honestly know how that point system works.
OFC with the 7 deuce here. Normally when we're watching the stream, that's going to be a raise to win a bounty, but obviously in the tournament, it's just going to let it go. Got 16 of you with us now. If you're just joining us, this is the Heads Up tournament. And look at that. There's my co-commentator walking into the screen wearing that nice white hoodie. Looking good, Chris. It seems like you don't age very much. You still look exactly the same as when I met you.
Yeah, just thinning hair slightly, I think. But I appreciate the compliment.
I was looking at you in a video of something we posted on YouTube like 5-6 years ago. I was like, dang, every single one of us looks way different except for Chris.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have had the same haircut for a long time. Just short and simple.
We're about even.
Um,
This is second left now. Yeah, we just had it 15 minutes ago. The Dino was missing.
Yeah, I want to give a little shout out to Harvey, who just finished in 6th place in the $800 mystery bounty tournament over at another poker card house, which is a huge accomplishment for any poker player, and especially for a young up-and-comer. That's a nice big confidence boost. Good job, Harvey.
No doubt. And I believe he's going to school full-time as well. Is that right?
Yeah.
Got a lot going on. And he's got a pair here. Unfortunately, OFC with a bigger pair. And they're sharing that queen, so he's pretty much drawing dead. Just checks down. And OFC wins a small one. And you can see there, OFC with a little chip lead building. Both these players started with 10K, which was 100 blinds, and we are into level 2, so those have been cut in half. And you can always think that the difference between the first level and the second level in a tournament is usually the biggest jump in the blinds percentage-wise for the entire event. Have you ever thought about that, Chris? You cut your entire stack in half.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people I see are so casual about just showing up to a tournament late and missing those first couple of levels, which is fine, you know, especially like if you have a really good reason to do so, like you just couldn't be there. But when you just do it so you can sleep in or because you don't enjoy playing the first couple of levels or whatever it is, to me that just seems crazy because you're missing out on an entire phase of the tournament, which is the phase where you get to play a lot of pots. You get to get in there and compete with 300, 400 big blinds and make some moves and see if you can like chip up before you even get into those middle stages of the tournament. And then, of course, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But it's sort of like a free roll to be there and play those deep stack situations.
Yeah, it could also be a opportunity to just have a big cooler on somebody early on.
For sure. And it's also the first hand of the tournament is the softest hand of the tournament. It's when the field is the softest because no one has been eliminated, and also because, generally speaking, it's experienced and reggy players that show up late. So the field's going to be really good at the beginning, plus just the factor that as players bust out, it's the weaker competition that busts out the earliest. So on average, it's always going to start the softest and then only get tougher.
Yeah, I like to be there early and get that first hand dealt to me. But to each their own.
King high.
King high, ace high, check it down.
It's also nice to just kind of get those almost like warm-up hands in
Sure.
for the first 2 levels or so,
For
where
sure. There's a lot less pressure on those hands whenever you're...
where the blinds are still small and
Yeah.
you get to feel out your opponents at the table instead of like showing up when things are kind of already in the thick of things. And like 20 to 40 big blind poker is the mid stages of the tournament where people start to tighten up and kind of take each pot a bit more seriously
Sure.
than they do at the beginning.
And how about this too? Like if you've ridden out the tournament from the very first hand and been there with your stack through thick and thin, when it comes down to those 20 to 15 to 10 big blind situations, maybe you have like more respect for your tournament life and just being a little bit more patient, a little bit more timely, strategic, as opposed to like you came into the tournament when you only had 40 blinds and then you don't have that same love of your tournament life that you might need to keep you in.
Yeah, definitely. And just more understanding of your opponents that you've been sitting with for 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. No doubt. When it's time to make that 20 or 30 big blind decision, you have more info to go off of.
Just to jump into this hand real quick.
Sure.
Pretty interesting spot here for Harvey with ace highs. Check down to the river, board paired. Definitely a consideration for finding a call with ace high, heads up. But he does make a good fold against OFC's flush. So good job, Harvey. Also, I think he had a club in his hand, which
Yeah, he did. 9 of clubs.
makes it a little better even. It's just always hard to give your opponent credit for having a hand when it's been checked down to the river. But of course, if they're playing, they're mixing things up, then they will have some weaker pairs potentially that decide to go for some thin value.
OFC limps. Harvey checks. OFC with a great flop. Little bet and take it.
Flopping the world every hand.
Comments that he's flopping the world every hand.
I like OFC's Adidas hat. It's nice and clean.
No doubt. I actually looked up recently some like ethical grades for different shoe companies, just to see how I wanted to factor that into my decision of buying shoes. And Adidas had the highest grade in the industry by far.
Nice. That's good to hear. I like Adidas. So just like I was talking about, Harvey checks back third pair.
All 3 times.
Actually, both of them have the same third pair.
You find a bet in there somewhere?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think mixing it up with these marginal hands
I thought I was going to be done quicker.
is good.
Good job. We're not catching the card.
When I'm playing heads up, I find myself, especially in position, peppering with an assortment of hands that might not intuitively seem like they could go for value, and just going for like really small sizings and finding that people do want to float a lot. You get called by like ace highs and king highs and stuff a lot more often than you might think.
Yeah.
And you can go for like 1 or 1.5 big blind bets there with bottom pair.
I agree. I also think there's a lot more psychological factor in heads up when both players are involved in every pot and seeing every hand. And if you're the one that's taking a lot of cheap stabs and being a bit more aggressive, that starts to get to your opponent.
Sure, and if you're in position, then you're like forcing them into a situation where the correct response is to do something that's not like the human being is not really built to do, which is to get aggressive and put your chips on the line without anything.
Yeah.
You got to like widen out, and that should be the appropriate response to you doing that, and then start check raising you lighter. And people are scared to do that. So
Looks like Harvey's going to make a play at this. So he,
yeah,
pretty fun spot here. Double
Yeah.
gut shot.
yeah, I like that.
Check calls flop and then check raises turn. And then
No,
gets
no. Oh yeah. Sorry.
yeah, and then gets OFC off of a weaker draw.
Yeah, nice.
But puts a lot of pressure on a hand like
Gut shot on the flop, and then turned to
queen
double
or
gutter.
something. Yeah.
Is that right? So that's a perfect example right there. Like if you're OFC and OFC didn't actually have anything right there, but let's say instead you have like a bottom pair or like a pocket threes or something right there on that board. Like sometimes even some king highs on an ace high board like that. Like you just never know what kind of hands are hanging around in there. Little gut shots, just backdoor draws, whatever that might be willing to call you for those tiny little stabbing bets. You can just get away with a lot more than you're used to if you come from playing 6 max or full ring games. Those ranges are so much wider that there's so much more floating to be done.
Yeah, and if you don't want to get run over by your opponent through pure aggression, then you're just forced to defend a lot wider heads up. Because like I said earlier on, both players are just going to miss a lot. It's hard to make a pair, especially heads up. And therefore, you have to be willing to get sticky. Got middle pair versus gut shot again. Now double gutted. Oh, sorry. Pair the board. Not double gutted. What was the check there?
Yeah, and Harvey does what we're talking about right there.
So
You see him bet twice.
I think
Love this
actually
line.
Harvey check calls flop and then
Oh.
leads turn. On
okay.
He did this
That's
against
interesting.
me in my match. It's an interesting line.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I could even see leading larger. I do think we still have the best hand a ton, and there's some value to be gotten. Putting small seems fine too, though. Or check calling again.
Yeah, it forces your opponent to have to make a decision now with like a lot of just 2 overcards that he bet on the flop.
Sure, and we have...
Now he's turning his hand into a bluff. Nice. He's got the 3 in his hand. Clubs came in.
Interesting.
It's a tricky line to check
Yeah.
call, then lead turn, and then check his river.
Yeah, sure. But...
I think a 3 with a club is a decent candidate to do it with because,
Sure.
like,
and we're
if
kind of
OFC
representing a boat.
checks back, then we get to win with our 3, and if he bets, then we get to turn our showdown value into a bluff against some hands like a 6.
Here's my only question. What hand would you actually take this line with that's really strong that would want to make that very small lead on the turn?
And it works. It shows a 4.
Yeah, it does work. He had the moves. He had the read right there that was going to get through. It does.
Dang, that's a disappointing one for OFC there to river top pair and then be forced to fold.
Yeah, for sure.
To answer your question, what hands want to lead? I mean, I could see just a deuce taking this line heads up.
And then check raising on when the flush comes in and OFC bets.
Yeah, I think it still has enough value.
What are you trying to get
I
called
mean, he's
by?
got a lot of other hands besides just flushes. Just any pair, 7, 6. Maybe he does it with some club draws. Just leads the deuce turn to try to get some immediate folds on the turn instead of like facing a turn bet.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about that, but then I thought if he would took that line, he'd probably bet a little bigger. The 300 feels like it's very indicative of the hand he has, but I mean, also it's kind of hard to just give him credit for even being willing to make a bluff like that. And if OFC does go thin with the 1 pair hand like he did, then power poker gets it done. Great spot for Harvey to recognize and turn a hand that had some showdown value into a bluff. very, very creative line.
Yeah, he did this. He took a couple of creative lines against me, and it definitely has you confused and thinking. Especially in heads up, I think it's even more important than in full ring to really be able to mix up your strategy on the go.
Yeah, and
What do we have here?
this one's interesting.
This
Harvey check back on the flop.
makes a good call.
Yeah. Checks back on the flop under reps and then has this in a call twice range, which is nice. And that's why he checked it back.
Yeah, especially when the 10 pairs, and there's a lot of draws that miss.
For sure. I mean, I feel like that your game plan whenever you check a hand back on the flop like that is so that you can call twice with it. And
Yeah, you could also argue that OFC, if he bets turn with like a queen, for example, he might not always bet a river with the river 10 pairing.
for sure.
So it looks even more polarized to Harvey.
For sure.
Not saying that OFC wouldn't bet a queen there, but
For sure.
those are the kind of thoughts that go into making the decision.
For sure. You get that little discounted rate of the queen showing up.
And it's just harder for him to have a 10 too,
Mm-hmm.
which of course he would
Yeah.
probably take that line with.
I think I would probably just go to like, okay, I check this back because I'm planning to call twice, and I got an actually pretty decent run out.
Yeah. Ooh, this is a bit of a cooler heads up here. Top pair on a paired board versus turn top two.
Yeah, and then OFC's going to raise then on the turn. Nice creative play. I like that.
But he's behind.
He is behind, but I still like the line. I'm curious, check, and then if he's going to bet or... Yeah, he just goes to showdown.
Ooh.
So he raised on the turn to get to showdown. I like that line a
That
lot.
could have been worse for OFC. Yeah. It's kind of tough in Harvey's shoes. Like, how to get more chips in that situation without re-raising turn.
Yeah, that's why the small raise is powerful.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you expect OFC to probably bet river with, like, I mean, any hand that he's raising on the turn, like a 7X or bluffs. So, and it's kind of awkward to, like, call a turn raise and then find a river lead. That's not really a too common of a line. But I think OFC maneuvered that situation very well.
Do you think it's too fancy if you're OFC and you go for that small raise on the turn, thinking you got the best hand almost every time, and then Harvey checks if you just bet like one blind to get called by whatever, I want to see what you got, or potentially induce a raise that you're planning to call? Or is that too fancy?
I don't think it's too fancy. I think if you're planning to call, then it's fine. My only concern would be
Definitely
that,
planning to call.
like, the 10 kicker is kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Like, even though we have top pair, we still lose to a lot of
But do you think he would ever raise
seven.
this with a worse or with a better 10?
better 7.
Better 7, yeah.
I think if you bet small, then like ace 7, king 7 can find a raise. Because you probably don't think like Trips is going to bet small on the river.
Yeah, I just don't think I'd want to make that play if I had the better kicker myself, because I'm trying to just bet bigger with that hand to get called by worse.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I would like the fancy play a bit more with like
A queen,
a stronger
jack
hand.
7.
Yeah, or even like a deuce, something that doesn't block top pair. I don't know. Those are... It's always a toss-up to me on the river. Like, I was struggling a lot with just coming to a decisive decision on what size I wanted to use in my matches. Like in certain spots, like, do I want to go small and induce? Do I want to go middle with a catch-all size and just try to get called by a wide range of hands? Or do I want to polarize here and try to get, you know, make it look
I hit the 7.
weighted toward like strong value or bluffs? Like what do I think my opponent has?
Maybe we're taking on some new perspective on heads-up play right now. Maybe I'm going to find it fun for the first time. I've always found it to be kind of slow.
Really?
Yep.
I really liked it a lot.
Obviously, it's not slow in terms of how quickly you have a decision to make. It just always felt like sort of stabbing back and forth for like one blind over and over. Just like kind of waiting for two strong hands to line up with each other.
Yeah, it's not really a big pot game.
Yeah.
But
yeah, exactly. When I'm playing full ring, it's like I have to wait longer in between hands, but then I know I'm going to get action and there's going to be money in the pot and we're going to like play for it.
Yeah.
Heads up tournament.
I think heads up cash would feel a lot more tedious than a heads up sit and go, where like the blind, where eventually those pots are forced out by the clock.
Sure. Heads up cash could be really fun against a very loose player.
Yeah, but
who's going to constantly just call your button open and they defend, especially if they'll defend for like 3 or 4x opens.
Yeah, and then if they're making a lot of plays, they're going to be putting you in a lot of spots.
Yeah, okay, we got an interesting one here because I believe this is still 100. Oh, this is 2-3. Gotcha, 2-3. And then Harvey opens to 4x and the big blind, he's got the 8-7, and it is a beautiful flop. OFC has... I'm very surprised to see Harvey not c-bet there. He opens this to 4x, gets called, and then just checks. Maybe he was planning to check shove?
Yeah.
Just kind of surprised he didn't just keep betting 3 times to put OFC's stack in.
Yeah, it definitely seems like there's a lot of hands you could get called by. 9s, 10s, 8x, queen x, some gutters, like jack 10 maybe. Even a hand like OFC has, like ace 10, probably could definitely call a bet on the flop.
Yeah, and then you see
I'm thinking that Harvey just thinks he wants to be checking this board a lot, so he decides to include 8-7 in that checking range. I like OFC's decision to include ace 10 offsuit here in a button call line so that he can call some raises from Harvey and be ahead of a lot of the hands that Harvey might raise. Even be dominating a decent amount of them.
Ooh. Interesting.
Yeah. It's a tough spot off of...
Yeah, it is tough.
What was the bet size? Didn't see.
Relative to the pot, I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yeah.
I believe it was 1.9K.
Tough.
And I think, I think it was close to pot because I think it was 4.2 in the middle with that bet. So
yeah, I like Harvey's decision to bet big on the turn after flop goes check check. Definitely really wet board. Tough spot for OFC with the open ended to a one liner. A bit harder to get paid when you hit. Plus 2 flush draws on board. Might be killing some of your outs, and they're on the turn. So. He is in position, yeah. You hear him saying he doesn't know if his ace is good either, which it wasn't that time.
That's what I was confused.
I think if you do call there, then you have to have some... you have to find some bluffs on the river when you don't improve your hand to make it more profitable.
So OFC flopped the goods here, and Harvey got a big piece too. But instead of this pot getting enormous, it goes check on the flop. Harvey just checks his 7 and open ender, which is reasonable, of course.
Yeah, and that's why you check those types of hands. Because you really don't want to get raised when you have middle pair and a gut shot.
Yeah, and then it's just small bet call, and then I think check on the end there with a double paired board. So that pot stays very small, and Harvey loses the minimum for sure.
Seems like every time I have a hand, it just goes to shit. Like I can't do nothing. Yeah. Forget about getting value on the river. I'm scared that what the hell? What is that card? You know.
Yeah, it's definitely been several unfortunate runouts for OFC when he does have a good hand.
Double fucking completed flushes, completed everything.
We just cracked the 30 viewer mark. Thank you guys for being here with us. We are doing the Poker House Heads Up Tournament. This was a $700 buy-in tournament. We had 8 players playing down to a winner. That's 3 rounds of action. And right here, coming your way, we are in the first round, but we have got footage from round 1, round 2, and the finals. And we are going to be going through all 3 of them here back to back. There you can see, guys, we're about 40 minutes through with 2 hours and 40 minutes left to go. This is round 1, Sluggy. And we have got Harvey playing OFC Heads Up. The winner will advance to the next round. And you will see the winner of this match playing again on our featured table. So stick around for that. This is a heads up sit and go. They started with 100 big blinds. That was a 10K stack at 100, 100. And we have now made it to level 3, which is 200, 300. You see that big blind indicator there next to their stack size. Harvey with 39 blinds, OFC with 19 blinds. Not counting what is in the pot right here, which is 2.6 thousand. OFC just checks back his top 2, does not go for the thin value. There's 3 diamonds, there's a paired board. Sluggy wanting to know, is this tournament over already? Yes, it is. This is a recording from the live stream footage. This did just happen 2 days ago, right?
Yeah.
Saturday. So not too long ago, but we were not able to do it live on Saturday, so we recorded it, and we got it here for you now. And I am Nick. I'm here in the booth with my best friend, Chris, who actually played in this tournament and was happy to come up here and do some review of it for you guys. We're happy to have him. Thanks for being here, Chris.
Thanks for having me, Nick. It's nice to be back in the booth with you and
No doubt. It's been a while.
be able to watch some heads-up poker.
And big flop right here. Both guys get something. This is Harvey opening the button to almost 3x, 2.7x, and then OFC defending. They both flop a big pair. Check. Harvey with a small c-bet. OFC calls. An overcard to the 8 could help OFC stay out of some trouble. If Harvey bets sizable here, OFC might just go away right now. It is sizable. And he does just fold. I'm curious if you might stick around versus a really small sizing there. He might have just been done either way. Also curious if he would stick around for the larger sizing if the turn card is lower than his 8. What do you think about that?
So grinding.
Yeah, I think the overcard and the fact that it's straightening and there's already an ace on the board is definitely a scary proposition for OFC compared to like maybe if bottom pair pairs or something like that. He might get stickier.
And here we got OFC limping in on the button. Harvey checks the blind, big blind.
I think OFC is missing a bet on the turn here.
Yeah.
Once it's checked to him twice and he has 6 high and picks up a flush draw,
Yeah.
he definitely has to take a stab at it and try to win the spot.
I like that too.
And now he just lets Harvey win with 3 high.
Yeah, tough. I'm with you right there. You bet 1 blind on the turn, you take it down.
Yeah. Those are the kind of hands that fit really nicely into semi-bluffing ranges.
Gallego confirming, yes, this is a replay, but the live stream is live. We're obviously seeing and responding to y'all's comments, which we would love more of. Got 37 of you guys. I see Tiny popping up as well. Howdy. What's up, boy? What's up, Tiny? what should we start with for the chat? How about you guys give us any heads up stories that you have? Anybody got one of those epic ones where you play a game all night and then you're just either running really good or trying to get unstuck or something, and the game plays all the way down, it's about to break, and then you and one other guy are like, you want to keep playing heads up? And you can see that look in the dealer's eyes of like, no, I was about to go home. You're like, sorry, bud. I've had a few of those. 7 a.m., only 2 guys left in the room, playing one-on-one. Makes you feel like a real DJ. Yeah, we got OFC opening here. That's not going to work. I'm a little bit surprised, honestly, to see him open that after seeing him limp so many buttons. And it's 200, 300 right now, which may not seem like that big of a difference between, let's say, 200, 400, but actually it affects your price pretty considerably. You're only having to call 100 more to win the 500 that's out there, as opposed to normally whenever the big blind is exactly double the small blind, let's say 200, 400, now you're having to call 2 more to win 600, so 1 to win 3 as opposed to 1 to win 5. Which impacts like how much equity your hand needs to have pretty considerably. So surprised he didn't just call getting that great price with a hand so weak after we've seen him do a lot of other limping, and kind of cost him there. Ended up having to fold after Harvey 3-bets.
Yeah, I might be feeling a little bit of pressure to make some moves now.
Sure, yeah, just steal a couple of blinds.
Kind of surprised that Harvey jammed ace-jack for about 18 bigs in that spot. I mean, I understand that it's a reasonable hand to do that with. I just don't know if I would
Would you just call?
be shoving 18 bigs heads up. No, I wouldn't just call, but I might raise smaller.
I mean, he went to 2.7. I don't think there's any other size. What are you going to go to?
Oh, yeah, okay. My bad. I guess I forgot that OFC raised it up.
Oh, if he had just
And
limped, yeah.
and then he's jamming over that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a slam dunk, honestly.
Yeah, fair enough. My bad.
Yeah, over a limp would be way different. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I was forgetting that it was raised, even though you were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Just slipped my mind.
No big deal. And that says that there's 4 remaining on our graph there, but actually there's 8 players in this event. So maybe that's referring to 4 matches of 4 remaining, but there are 4 matches in this first round here, and those winners will continue on. Losers are out. And you see Harvey's got about 2x OFC stack, but far from over, especially if there's a double up, then those rolls are instantly reversed.
So Harvey chooses not to raise the queen 10.
Yeah, and we're actually up to 200, 400 now, so all of that I just said a while ago has now switched from having an amazing price to just limp in with a hand like this to now maybe being more incentivized to raise with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super familiar with these spots, but the way I'm treating it, and Harvey could be treating it also, is that queen 10 is not thrilled to raise and then get jammed on for 14 bigs, where like
Sure.
even though you're always going to fold, you know, you could be folding like 2 overcards to a pair.
Sure, I'm with you. I think for me, it would just feel like it's just weak enough that I wouldn't mind that much, just folding. But
And like limping allows you to hit some pairs that dominate your opponent from the big blind, like
Sure.
any 10x or queen x.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
But yeah, I'd say it could probably go either way. But my approach in that situation is to be a little bit more polar and to be limping a lot and then raising like some hands that are really happy to fold, like maybe like queen 7, queen 8. And then obviously some premiums
Sure.
that are happy to call.
I'm with you. I think we have the same ideas. I just would probably, maybe I like undervalue queen 10 a little bit because I would have it in kind of that same bucket, but I'm with you right there. Seems like Harvey is the same. And again, I think those are in that sea of hands in heads-up play where you could get away with doing it either way, limping or raising.
I mean, just for like queen 10 probably has considerable equity versus like an ace 5 that jams or like a king 9, those kind of hands that, you know, are ahead, but we don't, like it still kind of sucks to have to fold, raise fold.
This is actually interesting than I thought.
Ooh.
Oh. A welcome sight for Harvey. I don't know if he's going to get any action here. He's just going to limp, play it cool. Makes sense. You definitely want to do that sometimes when you're limping all these other hands.
Yeah, and definitely a hand like kings that doesn't need a lot of protection compared to maybe like 2 10s or something.
Boo. Never happy to see that. But after OFC checks his big blind and then now checks to him on the flop and the turn, you got to think he got the best hand. Oh, now you really got to think he got the best hand.
Yeah.
Harvey going to bet. Probably very small.
I mean, had OFC thrown out a little stab, then Harvey would have ended up making the maximum in this hand.
Not small. Harvey goes big. Hopes that OFC slow played an ace or tries to call for a chop. It was... what was the full board there? Ace...
Ace 3-3.
Something king.
Something king.
I should have just folded. But just in case.
Maybe it wasn't for a chop. I was thinking that the whole board played out where it was all big cards or something, but regardless, he goes for the polarizing size, make it look like he's trying to steal it or something. Hope OFC was slow playing an ace the whole way. That makes sense. I mean, even if you go with like the one blind option and just like hope for a hero call smaller than a king, it's already kind of unlikely he's going to call for that. Even if he has a tiny pair, he'd probably just fold.
Yeah, I mean, that's the exact sort of spot I was talking about where like you get to the river, you have a hand, and you're like, you know, what kind of size should I pick here? Like, what does my opponent have? Should I target an ace? Should I target small? Like,
yeah. Like he doesn't have anything, so I'm just going to instead default to maybe trying to look like I'm bluffing.
yeah, exactly.
Just let him hopefully do something silly.
Yeah. End it. I mean,
OFC gets punished again right there for trying to open his button with 7-5 offsuit. Harvey shoves over it again with the king 10 suited. OFC does a little bit of Hollywooding. Can't imagine he was thinking about calling off for 15 blinds or whatever it was right there. He did adjust his sizing. He went to 800 at the 200, 300 blind level and then just went to 800 again at the 200, 400 blind level. So Harvey shoves, ace 4 offsuit, gets it through. You can tell that he is familiar with the idea of getting down here to these shallow stacks. You got your opponent on the ropes, and now just put him into decisions for his stack.
thanks for this chai tea latte.
No doubt, buddy.
Delicious.
I've been trying to pick up the coffee habit recently. My friends have been
So
doing it so long, and I've been missing out. Had to stop by and get one.
Okay, the graphics were wrong. OFC raises. I think this kind of hand makes sense to raise. And then fold to a jam. It sucks to give the chips away, but
Oof. OFC got to be feeling frustrated. This is about the 4th or 5th time in the last 6 or 7 hands that he's gotten shoved on. Had to fold. 3 of those were button opens. And Harvey shoves over him. He had ace jack, king 10, and now is that ace 5 there?
yeah. Yeah, I'm curious. I wonder, like, I don't know if what if other pros are like what their 12 big blind strategy is. If there's, I mean, I don't know if there's like room for an all limping strategy, like you just limp every hand, or if you still want to have some like raised calls, raised folds, and then also limps, which is obviously harder to manage, but
That feels right to me, but I don't know.
I'm curious.
And this is about to be the end of the match. We've got a super cooler here, guys. Wow. This turn card is death for OFC as Harvey turns the flush while OFC turns the straight. I'm sorry we didn't have a crazy reaction to that turn card. Oh my gosh, that's such a cooler.
Yeah.
OFC was sitting on about, what was it, 12, 13 blinds to enter the hand. You're not going to get away from a cooler like this.
Yeah, pretty disappointing for OFC.
Yeah, I just couldn't get any momentum.
And every time he made a good hand, he got a bad board. And this time he happens to be second best. Either couldn't get value because of the board, or he is gonna, or he's beaten.
Yeah, and he check raised on the turn here, and now he knows he probably doesn't have the best hand anymore. And he's thinking about, do I want to bet my last 2,000? Yeah, whatever.
I think you definitely still can have the best hand.
It's possible, but I'm just saying, I think the reason he's sitting there thinking about it is like, I just got a bad feeling I'm no longer good.
For sure.
And you can tell, oh boy, he stands up, shakes the hand. Harvey the Kid wins round one. And here we go, guys. We're about to be moving on to round number 2.
All right.
Chris, what do you think there?
I will.
Got any summarizing thoughts for the match? So we move on into the second one.
I think both players did a good job of navigating and just trying to small ball each other. Kind of the nature of heads up, like we said. Not a lot of big pots unless you both get some good hands. I think Harvey managed to pick up a couple of extra pots that weren't due to him based on card distribution, and OFC might have missed 1 or 2 spots like that, but definitely cooler at the end, and I think both players played well.
For sure. And there at the end, if that cooler went the other way, OFC is like right back in the match.
Yeah.
He's the favorite then. So yeah, these things come down to, you get down to where you got 10 to 15 blinds, then any one hand can be the one that changes the result of the match.
It's definitely hard to pick up momentum and heads up if you're not managing to get value for your hands when you do make them, whether it be because your opponent doesn't have anything or because the board doesn't allow for it. But I think that was the tail of the tape on that one.
No doubt, my man. And so we are rolling here into match number 2, guys, and it's still Harvey the Kid there in the same seat, and he has got a new challenger. It is Tristan Nicholson. He is pulling in after winning his first match.
Yeah,
to
so
take on Harvey in the semis here.
So at this stage in the bracket, this is round 2 for both of these players. They've both won 1 match. I am actually at Poker House at this time at another table playing The Boy. Many of you know him from the Next Gen live stream. Me and him played heads up for our round 2 matches after he won his first round 1. And so, yeah, that's where we're at. And then the winner of this game and the winner of me versus The Boy is who will be advancing to the finals. And then the finals is best 2 out of 3.
And basically what happened in round 1 is that the players started with 10,000 chips, And after they won their match, that means they had 20,000 in their stack. So they just brought that 20,000 with them to the next round here. So each player starting with 20,000, but instead of starting at 100 blinds, we're going to be starting at 200 blinds this time. So they are back to 100 big blind starting stacks.
I forgot to give reset, so he thinks we're only at 45.
What was the action? Raise,
Oh,
3
boy.
bet, call. Ooh,
We've got a little bit of a cooler situation here right off the bat, guys. This is Harvey opening the button. Tristan 3-betting the big blind, and Harvey decides to defend. I think this could go either way.
Yeah.
And then here on the flop, they both flop top pair. Tristan checks. A little interesting because you would maybe think of this as typically being a board you would bet a lot anyway. So he decides to get tricky and check calls on the flop. Now checks again.
I feel like that flop check
Could cost him, huh?
Yeah, it could cost him a big pot here.
Yeah, because Harvey's going to check back and control. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. And now that flop check might save him.
That's true.
Because that 10 on the end, it does bring a one-liner. So it's just going to go check, bet, and call. But
yeah, I wonder what size Harvey chooses here.
yeah, he's trying to get called by a king, pocket queens, pocket jacks.
I don't even know if he's expecting a king. He's probably targeting like queens and jacks, like you said. Maybe like a 7x type of hand. What does he go, 14, half pot?
I mean, I would be surprised if Tristan has very many re-raises pre-flop with a 7x.
Could have like ace-7 suited or 8-7 suited maybe, but... Oh, wow.
Whoa. What just happened? Oh my gosh, and Tristan decides to min raise his hand.
I think he thinks he's good.
Yeah, he thinks he's good, and he just decides, I'm just going to raise what I think to be the best hand here. He's definitely not bluffing.
Yeah.
You can tell that it would be hard to get called by a worse hand, as Harvey has a very strong candidate and is still thinking about folding. And yeah, it does call and has the best hand.
Yeah,
that was a very interesting play there.
Yeah, it was creative. Probably not. Probably not a board that I would be choosing to min raise on. But
That's very interesting. I don't know what to think about that one. Obviously, Harvey has it. Let's say if Harvey had a king jack there, Tristan checks, Harvey bets, and then Tristan raises. Do you think that Harvey would call?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, he just has so few hands that are beat and will call compared to hands that are just beating us at that point.
Sure. And
I will be right back.
Okay. See you in a second. And now we got Tristan limping in on the button. Harvey going to check in the big blind. Great flop for Tristan. Top pair, top kicker. He bets and takes it. Johnny's saying that the min raise was definitely solver approved. He does the laughy emoji, so I'm guessing he's being sarcastic, but I would not be that surprised. The solver does all sorts of quirky things like that, and it's always a mix. You know, that's probably my favorite solver quote. It's always a mix. You can pretty much justify anything if you just tweak the circumstances a little bit. Got Harvey using a 2.5 sizing here. Raises it up. Tristan calls in the big blind. I got those eights interacting with each other. Harvey dominating him. And probably going to win with just a little c-bet here. He bets 300 and takes it. And now our graph is correct in that it says we have 4 players remaining, but It's not 4 of 4. We actually started with 8, and we're down to 4 now. And Johnny confirming when he gets asked for hand history advice, he always says it's a mix. It's the easiest answer in poker. Oh, yeah, I think you could do either. I do a lot of that here in the booth whenever I see a play that I think is questionable. You just got to default to, yeah, I can see what he's thinking there. I think it's a mix. And Chris is back. Got a raise from
A little bit. I watched last night Purdue.
Tristan, and then a C-bet and take it.
I didn't make a rack or anything. Man,
I want to say one more thing about the ace-king hand. I think this happens in poker sometimes where, like, well,
the team that they were playing was across the board the smallest team.
let the players talk for a second.
Talking about some March Madness on the table. You been watching any of that? No, me neither. Me neither. I used to think it was the funnest thing in the world to follow the bracket. I do still like get just a little bit of a thrill of like checking the scores and seeing if any of the underdogs, like the huge underdogs teams, beat one of the big schools. I always think that's kind of fun. And then occasionally, like if one of them makes a deep run, I'll like tune in and watch the game. But yeah, I'm kind of over it too. All right, do you want to talk about your ace king?
Yeah, I was just going to see if they flop anything. But I think this kind of happens in poker sometimes where, like, we make a plan on the flop. Like, I'm guessing when Tristan decided to check the king-high board that he kind of already had the idea that he was going to go for some value later in the hand.
Yeah, like make a thin raise.
Yeah, like make a thin raise. But then sometimes the board runs out in such a way that we have to adjust that plan, and it kind of counteracts that intention. And so that was just something I was thinking.
Sure, got to be willing to change plans.
Yeah, I got to be willing to change plans.
For sure.
I think it was a one-liner and a flush. And when you get to that point, you just have to be like, well, even though the flop, or even though the turn checked through, like now I can no longer the best spot to try to go for a thin raise.
All right, and we got Harvey limping in, or sorry, Tristan limping in here, and Harvey going for that 5x open. We saw him do that in the first round as well. Pretty sizable.
So
it does get called this time. Tristan with a good limp calling candidate. Sounds like Tristan plays down at the lodge. I think that's what they were talking about there. Said that they had a heads-up tournament down there. He had a good time, and when he saw this one, he decided to hop in. Wow. A little street ball play right here. Harvey raises big pre-flop. Now C-bets the same size that he raised pre-flop, so that's going to be half pot. And then Tristan just goes for a little street ball raise. Harvey not going anywhere. He's got the gutter. Probably thinks his ace is good most of the time.
I think it's a really
Check, and Tristan's had enough. And is he going to let Harvey just go to showdown with ace high?
I'll say I think it's an impressive call by Harvey there, because even if you have those feelings that maybe ace high is good and maybe your opponent has a lot of bluffs on this flop,
sure,
it's still hard to pull the trigger on sticking around with just a gutter and ace high.
Yeah, and Tristan gets the heart on the end and then goes for the bet. Yeah. I love it. He says, queen high, no good, and I'm not just going to let you take this one off of me.
Definitely like both decisions on the river there. I think Tristan has to go for it when the heart comes in. I mean, basically, one of the many, it brings in one of many possible bluffing hands from the flop, which would be flush draws.
For sure.
And then
it worked like a charm.
Yeah.
Harvey didn't even think about it.
Yeah. Would have been interesting if, like, the river paired the 9 with no heart, and it went check bet.
Yeah, if Harvey would think about hero calling.
Yeah,
Mystery bounty one they got going on.
I like spots like that.
He's just going to limp in here.
Whenever
And a check.
Choctaw does the WPT, whatever, I always try to fire in that one a few times. A few minutes.
Tristan flops a pair. Harvey takes a little stab and might keep coming now. He turns an open-ender. It's 2 pair for Tristan, though, so it's not going to work. He does keep coming. Check, bet. Bet's big. 1.5x the pot. Tristan calls. Harvey does prevent himself from getting check raised there, though, with that big size, and could give himself other chances to win. Maybe if he bluffs here, or if he obviously had to hit his card. A deuce or a 7 would have gave him a straight. He's going to have to go enormous if he wants to try and get Tristan off 2 pair. It may not work anyway. I don't know if that'll do it. No, definitely not. Tristan snap calls, 2 pair good. A good effort from Harvey. Especially when that one-liner comes in. Maybe you hope you can get him off of some top pairs at that point. How fast he called, though, I don't think so. I don't think he was folding the top pair either.
What's the biggest game that runs here on the stream?
The biggest one was actually running yesterday. It was a 25-50. 2-3. It was 25-50-50 last night.
Yeah, a little rich one.
Yeah, that's a pretty big one.
Got queen 10 versus 10-9 here. And a 10 high flop. I had a feeling.
Oh,
Ooh,
boy.
Top 2 versus top pair.
Yeah, set up flop right here. Tristan raised pre-flop and sees no reason to not keep betting top pair. Is Harvey going to go for the check raise right now? Yes, it looks like it.
And we have to remember that Harvey just showed a big bluff where he overbet turn and then bet river and had a misdraw.
Whoa, whoa.
Yeah, so that might factor into something like this, where Tristan takes a big stand with top pair.
Holy cow. And, I mean, Harvey taking a second to think about it. It's going to be hard to fold top 2. Wow. And Tristan goes in after about 4,000 in the pot for 21,000 in his stack. About a 5x pot shove here with top pair. Oh, and Harvey shows the goods. Tristan, 19% to win this one. Harvey needs to fade, and he is on to the finals. Oh, Tristan has him covered, it looks like. So my fault there.
Almost.
Almost. Bricks on turn and river. And my fault. Match is not over, but that is huge right there. Harvey takes a commanding chip lead.
Yeah, there's that psychological aspect that I was talking about where
sure.
I think that
Tricked him.
I think he tricked himself a little bit in that spot, just maybe with some feelings of having that ace king versus king 10 hand that didn't really go according to plan, and then seeing Harvey triple barrel bluff. Even though Tristan found the call, he still got to see Harvey being aggressive, and then when he gets this flop and gets check raised, he's probably thinking, there's just too many bluffs out there. I have top pair. I'm not, you know, I can't get away from it, and all the chips go in.
Oh, I have a covered. Okay.
No. I should.
You said because you lost. Oh, no. 13, 14, 16, 17.
So trying to see if that's the end or not.
Based on the graphics, it would not be the end. Yeah, it looks like Tristan's going to get a little bit back here.
All right. Chip in a chair.
Commanding lead for Harvey, though. He is in the driver's seat here.
Yeah, big spot. Well played. Just fast playing top 2 on that flop. Just goes to show you, even on what could be a scary board for 2 pair with the straight being out there, the power of fast playing when you're out of position.
Sure.
You know, you might get your opponent to put all the chips in with worse.
I feel like Tristan was probably hoping Harvey had like a pair and an open ender.
Yeah.
One of those traditional bluffing candidates there,
Yeah.
and was like, I'm going to get him right here where he's going to be stuck feeling like he has to call, and I'm dominating him.
Yeah, for sure. I can't blame him for taking a stand with top pair there. It's just no fun when you are behind. It's also hard. I mean, it's a tough spot. Like, if you just call the check raise, you know, now you're going to face some awkward turn bets on possibly some scary runouts, and tough spot all around.
Harvey limps the button here and is going to take a stab after Tristan checks. Tristan's got top and bottom, so that's not going to work. And he's just going to call and try and milk Harvey's stack into the middle. Oh, no, and 4th diamond comes off. Now his 2 pairs not looking so good. And Harvey checks and makes a straight. Ouchie. When it rains, it pours, Tristan. His 2 pair, which looked like Harvey was almost dead on the flop.
Yeah, I wonder.
It's now worthless.
Just bet 1
Oh, and Tristan still calls.
2/3 pot.
Yeah, Harvey with a nice target right there. Goes for 2 blinds instead of 1 blind.
Yeah, actually more, right? Isn't it 2-3 or is it 2-4?
I think it's 2-4. Oh, no, it's 2-3. You're right. Wow. Very healthy size bet right there on a 4 diamond board to try and target worse than a 1-liner.
Yeah, it
And
goes
he gets
almost-
called by worse. Wow.
Almost for 3 blinds.
That is ambitious and
quarter.
a nice read.
Right around a quarter of Tristan's stack there. So still chipping away. And those spots add up. Finding that sizing.
Yeah, I probably would have bet 1 blind or 1.5.
Yeah. With 4 diamonds out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a 1-liner, and I'm trying to get called by worse than the 1-liner.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's checked the whole way, so it's unlikely that he like flopped 2 pair or something. Although he did. I would think it's unlikely.
Yeah, definitely some nice value extraction there from Harvey.
Yeah, now he makes 2 pair himself. Tristan's got the gutter,
Getting some good cards now.
but Tristan not going to see the river because Harvey bets and takes it down.
Harvey, if you're out there watching, send us a message in the chat. Let us know.
Doubt, and the rest of you guys in the chat, hit that like button for us. Help us boost this one out in the algorithm a little bit. We still got our finals coming up after this match. We've been going for an hour and a half. We got another hour and a half coming your way. And these guys got the same hand right here, so this one's in all likelihood going to be a chop pot. And yes, now for sure, unless someone bets and takes it.
Yeah, I have a feeling Harvey's going to bet this river if it's checked to him. Oh, he's in his, yeah, he's not checking this back. Only costs 1 big blind to try to make a better hand fold. Oh, wow. Goes for it all.
2 blinds out there. He bets 5. Maybe he was afraid he was going to get called by like a king or queen high or something if he just bet a blind.
Yeah, that's a fun sizing choice there. Definitely. I don't know. I might just bet 1 blind and target like all of the hands that are snap folds. Doesn't seem like Tristan has that many hands that might call 1 big blind but fold to his whole stack. I mean, like you said, king high. It's possible.
Tristan with a pair here. Harvey's in there. And this could be it, boys. We got Tristan with the pair, Harvey with the 2 overcards, and the enormous chip lead. Tristan all in. It's bricks on the flop, brick on the turn, and the deuces will double. So Tristan's still alive. He's back to 10 blinds here.
Nice. That's a big pickup.
That is huge right there. Yeah, still alive.
10 is healthy.
And he has gone from me thinking that he was a goner when he was all in there earlier to actually surviving that one and now getting a full double and back in the mix. This would be an epic comeback story here.
Try that. Do you think that's too loud? Yeah, I was telling the Poker House crew that I thought it would be a lot of fun if they could get like a monthly heads-up tournament going. Maybe something that could be finished in 1 day or 2 days. But
Yeah, for sure.
it's just so nice, you know, to have that rare opportunity.
No doubt. And Tristan flops top 2 here. So he's going to pick up another little pot. And let's see. What's that going to put him at? 14 blinds maybe? Let me see these numbers update. 1 more double and he is right back in striking distance.
Did you go to Texas or are you just in there? Yeah. You went to Texas? What are you up to now?
Working renewables, do sales.
Cool.
Yeah. What about you?
I go to SMU right now. I'm in 2 semesters. And I'm figuring out something to do in the finance world.
Oh, Harvey. Harvey hits him with this speech play and limps simultaneously with the 2 kings. Tristan steps right in the trap, boys. He just shoves it all in with the Jack-8 offsuit. Harvey snaps. Oh my gosh, that was almost unfair the way that he just talked to him about his schooling while schooling him. He ships it. Round 2 is over. Harvey scoops in all the chips. And with that, We are on to the championship. Chris, you got to tell me, did you see that coming? Just how smooth that was with the speech play about being at SMU while he called for 300. Did you see that?
I did not see it. It happened so fast.
It was so slick.
That was, yeah, very slick.
I'm wondering, can we just go back and watch that on replay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it here. We got to see that one again, guys.
Yeah, I love these parts about poker, you know. It's like, it's not just the cards, it's about everything. All the variables.
Oh, we're next hand here.
And he limped kings both times he got them too.
Okay.
Definitely first 10 big blinds in this spot.
All right, guys, I want y'all to watch how smooth Harvey is whenever he limps in with these 2 kings right here while talking about being at SMU.
Yeah, doesn't hesitate.
Hold on, watch the whole sequence here.
Work in renewables, do sales.
Cool.
Yeah. What about you?
I go to SMU right
I didn't even know he had acted.
2 semesters, and I'm figuring out something to do in the finance world.
Huh?
Yeah, that's bad timing.
Huh? This is huh? When he goes all in. One more time.
I go to SMU right now. I'm doing 2 semesters, and I'm figuring out something to do in the finance world.
Yeah, that's bad timing.
That is good stuff right there. Tristan says that's bad timing. Yeah, I think so. 2 kings gets it done, guys. We can see this board come out one more time.
Was that Harvey saying, huh?
Yeah, because Tristan says all in, and Harvey goes, huh? Like, oops, gotcha. He gives him a good game, pats the table, and that is it, guys. And boom, face reveal. We got Chris here in the booth. That's him on the left. He has also made it to the championship, and he is going to be facing off against Harvey, who we just watched in our previous 2 matches here in the finals. This is going to be fun, Chris. You excited?
Yeah, I'm excited, and I have yet to see any of these hands that have been played. So this will be my first time seeing what Harvey had in some spots, and we had a lot of fun. We had a little bit of strategic banter back and forth.
Nice.
And,
Looking forward to hearing that.
yeah, had a good time playing each other. We're familiar with each other, just playing in the same area, but haven't played that much actually, poker-wise against each other. So I'd say that neither one of us knows that much about the other's game.
Nice. And that is great insight as we get started here in our championship. And I guess we should tell them that this was a 2 out of 3 finals. And we have the first match recorded for you guys here. And then we can talk about how it went down after that. Is that good?
Yeah, sounds
Cool.
good. Yeah, so I'll just say too, just as a reminder, I just played my round 2 versus the boy, which was also a great match. And going into those matches, we drew for who played on stream, and Harvey and Tristan got the stream table, so that's why we couldn't stream every match. But wanted to just shout out the boy and say that he played really well also. Ran into a few unlucky hands against me, and now here we are going into this one.
Boom. Here we are, guys, and let's get started. Championship match right here of the Heads Up tournament at Poker House Dallas. $700 buy-in.
We could even get guys over.
Clock is going. And maybe, Chris, you can tell us, what are the prizes up for grabs here?
Oh, yeah. So we had $5,200 up top to negotiate between the 2 of us, and ended up deciding that we would both take $2,100 for second, or not both, but that we would give second place $2,100, meaning we both locked up $1,400 profit, which came out to being $700 for each match. So that worked out nicely, and then we decided to play each other heads up for $1,000 on the table.
Cool. So 21 for first and
21 for second and
oh, it's 21 for second and 31 for first.
Yeah.
Cool. Got it. All right.
guess I could have said that more concisely.
It's all right. Makes sense.
But I wanted to. I really like the aspect that second place got 1,400, which for after winning 2 matches, because essentially $700 buy-in from each player. Pleased my OCD.
Nice. There's Harvey referencing that big tournament he was playing, the mystery bounty down the street. He said playing heads up tomorrow would be a dream. He didn't quite make it to heads up, but he did make it to the final table, Chris. 6th place, is that right?
Yeah, 6th place.
Nice.
Great run.
Sorry about that, guys. We'll get that off the screen. There we go. Sounds like it is going to be a table with some chatter going on. We'll have to listen in on that.
So right off the bat, I flop a flush draw against Harvey.
Yeah, and this was a raise from Harvey on the button and a defend and the big blind from Chris.
Yeah, and this is the first time I'm seeing his cards.
We check. He see bets.
So my decision on this flop is just that I want to have some check raise bluffs, and like I think my low clubs fit well into that category. Could argue to only have like combo draws, but I'm going to be calling a lot of my bigger clubs and just thought that 6 deuce of clubs is good enough to check raise right here, right now.
Alrighty, and we're at the 2K, 4K blind level.
The awkward part about the turn is like when I check raise flop, I mean, as far as value goes, I'm pretty much repping like only 2 pair. I'd probably
Pocket
raise
fours.
like, yeah, and pocket fours. Like 9s and jacks I don't even really have, not 3-betting pre. And then on the ace, it's like if I did raise like king jack or like queen jack on the flop, then would I bet this turn?
No, kind of could be repping like an ace jack as possible.
Yeah, ace jack and then
like ace x of clubs maybe, like a good one, but
2 pairs.
most of those with a 3-bet pre-flop.
So I
feel like it's a little thin
what's then
to try and bluff again on the turn. Although it could also be that Harvey would call with some 1-pair hands that are scared of the ace. Just feel like we don't have that many strong hands, but
yeah, we could have like ace 4 that raises flop and then hits the turn. He's got the ace of clubs. We could have like ace x of clubs too.
right, that's what I said. But most of those I think would just check call on the turn. You don't have that many big ones because you're a 3-bet pre-flop with like ace queen, ace king.
Yeah, maybe so. Thankfully, I decided to give up here versus a full house.
Yeah, pretty easy to play whenever you connect with the board this strong. Harvey feeling really comfortable and confident this entire hand.
And he goes, let's see what, he's got 26. Yeah, oh no, yeah, I have.
Yeah, we're already into a pot-sized bet left here, guys. This is a big pot to start us off.
First hand.
Harvey's all in. Chris looks at those cards, says, why didn't a club come?
Yeah, no.
And lets him go.
Yeah, river club would have been real tough for Harvey with 2 pair and the ace of clubs in his hand.
So it had value.
Yeah, we can review that some more after the stream, but interesting turn spot for sure. Just doesn't, I don't feel like I have to bet. And I still have equity.
Like every time I get my hopes up for a day 2, it's just been like, it's gone really poorly. So I just think like the tournaments, I realize like, until you
Check call and check fold didn't feel very good.
don't get excited.
Yeah. Makes sense. Two very playable hands here, guys. A lot of boards that could create some action for us. Looks like Chris is going 3x to start here.
Yeah, I like to choose a bigger sizing in the early stages because we have so many big blinds to play for.
Sure. Yeah, that's what I was going to mention just a minute ago, is they were playing 200, 400 here, but they brought all of their chips from the previous matches. So that's a 40K starting stack, meaning each player started with 100 big blinds. And Chris gonna improve what was already the best hand, c-bet, and take it down.
Just briefly going back to the first hand, like if Harvey bet calls like any other 9x that's not 2-pair, I wonder what he does on an ace turn there. If he is putting me on like a bluff heavy range and calling again or not. I don't think he would fold a jack. But also, like, he has other hands, like, open-ended, like Queen 10, 10-8, that might just give up on the turn.
Hold on, Chris. I'm trying to listen to Chris talk. I want to hear this again. We're going back, guys. I'm sorry.
Right? If you what? Think about someone like Phil Hellmuth. Yeah. Like, when he goes into, like, every poker game that he plays, he doesn't go in thinking, like... thinking about variance and thinking about his probability of, winning or not.
Pause that thought. We've got Jack 10 suited, and we'll be back to that. I want to hear more about Phil Hellmuth and his expectations going into tournaments. I think that's a powerful one. But we got Harvey opening and Chris thinking about 3-betting here, it looks like. He does. Oh, it's not full.
He doesn't go in thinking about, like, what the likelihood of him winning is. He goes in thinking he's going to win every time, right? And, like, I think that in every other competition, like sports, you go in like expecting your talent to carry you, like expecting, not thinking about like being lucky or unlucky, but like expecting to go and perform and like most likely win, especially if you're the better team and the better player, right? But in poker, we like. I'll do 1,000.
Raise 1,000.
So now I'm shorter stacked slightly from the beginning. Harvey was opening 2.5. I decided to follow suit on that one. And my hand, like, just this hand doesn't need to go as big.
And it's really nice when you go smaller and then Harvey 3-bets and you get to continue.
Yeah, I have a comfortable defend here. Definitely wasn't expecting him to have
very light 3-bet from him.
this kind of hand, but I understand it.
Oh, and he checks. That is very surprising.
Yeah.
I thought for sure he would take a stab on this board. I think if you're going to 3-bet a hand this week, you want to take advantage of the fact that you can represent boards that are good for your range as opposed to your actual hand.
Man, this makes me hate my play even more now that I see this, but when I got to the turn, I was like, okay, I think I have to bet. But then I ended up deciding that, well, I'll let it play out, I guess. It's funny because I was just talking about having to bet these.
With OFC.
Yeah, having to bet these spots.
Yeah, I thought of that too, but it does feel different. This one feels more reasonable to check because this board is so favorable for Harvey's 3-bet and then check twice range that he has some kind of showdown value, like a Jack Queen, a 10 Queen, a King Queen.
In game, I was thinking Ace Queen.
Ace Queen possible. It's like, how does he not have some kind of contact that wants to check call here?
Yeah.
I would totally check too.
You would? Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, I wasn't putting him on like does that kind of low hand.
No, I wouldn't either.
And
I feel like he's just wanting to check call almost every time there.
I was just thinking I was thinking when he checks flop and checks
or
turn,
check raise, and then I don't get to see the river.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I was like, man, I have gutter and flush draw.
Yeah, it made me laugh immediately because I also thought of what you just said about OFC, but I'm like, I think he should have bet, and I also think you should check.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm glad you say that. In game, I was like, this is a hand I can bet, but also like I would hate to get check raised. And if he check calls, then committing to 2 bets when I can just check back and realize. And then my plan was going to be if he checks again to maybe make a small stab. But Or just check it down. Might be too weak. It is one of our best like turn betting hands. I also thought like if I have like I'm gonna be checking a lot of my hands that connect on the turn, like Jack X.
Yep.
I would start betting King X. Kind of gave him a freebie on that one though, seeing his hand, letting him win with 8 high when I'm in position and I get a favorable board.
Nah.
Now I start talking about it. Yeah, he's like, that was really interesting. Yeah, you let me win with 8 high there.
Did he see your cards?
No, he doesn't know what he didn't. Yeah, and I say I could have won.
Yeah, but I still like your strategy. I think it was good. You obviously didn't know he had that and couldn't have known. And it's like a super specific hand right there that fits into like, oh, he for sure would have folded and
Yeah.
like 8 high. I mean, like how often does he have 8 high?
Yeah, I mean, surely,
Usually he's got at least a pair or something.
Yeah, I mean,
Or an ace high at the least, you know.
definitely have to expect him to have some give ups, but I'm with you. I thought he was like weighted towards some check, mostly check calls, showdown value.
I feel like he's almost never in the line of check to give up, check to give up.
Yeah.
After 3-betting, pre-flop on a king jack.
He has to have like a total brick.
Total brick that also decides not to bet his range advantage.
Yeah, so.
And can barely beat 7 high.
Also on the turn, I was just like I was kind of like hyper focused on ace queen.
Yeah.
Being like
Wow.
a very likely check twice, check raise hand.
Yeah. I don't know if I get too caught up on that in a heads-up match, but I'm with you. It definitely is a candidate that makes sense.
All right, so he raised. We fold the 10-3. They get obsessed with like.
Oh, here we go. More wisdom.
Just the long term, which obviously there's different situations where that should be like if you're losing. Let's talk about it after.
Oh, and he's going to cut us off there. No more secrets for you guys at home. But I do want to say I just love that talk. I've heard Chris talk about it before. We've talked about it before. Just the idea of going into a tournament and how poker players will often make the excuse of variance for themselves before they even start playing because they want to soften the blow of it not going the way that they're hoping. And especially in a tournament, it's so easy to go in and look around the room and be like, well, there's 100 players in this tournament. Even if I was the best player, like what's really my chances of winning and like navigating through all of these people without getting unlucky and losing at some point. And even though that is sort of the reality of the situation, I feel like people, number one, prevent themselves from analyzing their own play as objectively as they could and trying to improve it because they've already written those excuses in for themselves. And then number two are probably just lowering their confidence and lowering their chances of winning, maybe at a metaphysical level of expecting to lose and then sort of bringing that on themselves. And Chris was using the example of Phil Hellmuth, who's someone that goes in, at least it appears to me, and just you can tell from his actions, not that I would say that those always seem appropriate, but he always seems genuinely surprised that he didn't get first place in whatever it is that he's doing. You know, he just always expects to win, expects to be the best player in the room, and expects poker to work out the way that other games do, where the best player wins more often. Let's say like chess or a sporting event. But even in those other games, in chess, like let's say a Magnus Carlsen, or in sport, let's say like Michael Jordan or someone, these great winners, even those guys lose. You know, they do lose sometimes, but that doesn't impact their expectation going forward. You know, if Michael Jordan loses a game, he doesn't go into the next game like doubting himself and thinking like, oh, well, maybe I'm going to lose again. He goes in thinking that the previous game was a complete anomaly and that his expectation is that he is going to win the next one as well. And I always wonder why poker players don't take that on. Well, obviously, Obviously, the answer is known, but I feel like it's a mistake, I guess is a better way to put it. I feel like they're maybe selling themselves short. And not holding themselves accountable for bad play.
Yeah, it's a funny balance too, though. Like, especially when you do lose or you do play really well, but then get bad results. Like, now you're on the flip side trying to remind yourself, like,
For sure.
hey, don't be.
But I heard you say that
don't-
too, which is that in the aftermath, you
Yeah.
can always go to that
For
and
sure.
be like, all right, did I actually play good and
Yeah,
get
just
unlucky?
some variance.
Yeah, but you don't want to go into it like already like writing that off as an excuse for yourself.
For sure.
Uh-oh, Lego's saying the audio is off. You can't hear us, buddy?
No, I think it hasn't been lined up the whole
Oh, it's off in terms of the voice. Yeah. I know. I don't know why it does that. I've noticed it before.
That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
You're talking about.
Lego, can you hear our voices? Or do you just mean that the voices are not aligned with the movement of their mouths?
Right now we're talking about that first hand.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. You probably played it fine. You have a lot of bluffs to choose from on that.
Yeah, I know. Which is not a. Which means you have to be careful.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
But I would have called a lot of better clubs. Yeah, a tough start for me giving away I won't say giving it away, but losing. But I think about a quarter of my stack on the first hand. So now we're fighting to come back. And they can hear us, which is good. Yeah, we can't control the sync right now, unfortunately.
Got Poker Monkey in the chat. Got David Valley
Yeah, so
in the chat. What's up, boys?
coming into the final, we didn't even know it was going to be best 2 out of 3. Actually, so that was a nice surprise. We were both excited about that. Ooh,
Chris with a welcome sight. 2 10s.
yeah.
Harvey with a 10 as well. And he's going to open the button. Chris, I'm assuming, going to 3-bet here. And will Harvey defend? I would be out of there personally. What would you do here? I'm a nit. When someone else shows aggression, I always give them so much credit and just fold my cards.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not my favorite hand to defend with, but heads up, I think it's...
It's mandatory.
I wasn't going to say mandatory, but I think it's definitely reasonable to defend.
Harvey's not going anywhere.
I
He
mean,
says,
he
let's
can
see
be
3 more.
dominating. He's like dominating my Jack 10, 10, 9, 10, 8.
Ooh, and now he gets one of those spots that one of the reasons I don't like to call here is because you never know how much equity you have or when you should continue. And if you do fold, you know you're always folding some amount.
What do you think about this
Chris checks here.
this flop for
I think
me?
maybe you talked to me about this one,
Yeah,
right?
I did. Whether or not to c-bet.
Yeah, I don't think we came to a strong conclusion, actually. It felt like both options had merit. Does go check, check. Little surprised Harvey calls the 3-bet and doesn't take a stab. I'm sure he's planning to at some point, but
I think I don't know. I really do think 10s can go either way here on the flop.
sure.
Think definitely betting has a lot of merit. Get some calls from 9x, 8x, protect from overcards.
Now we bet half the pot.
Yeah, now I think we
Goes
have
pretty meaty there
have
to
to
try and
bet.
get some protection. Still hoping to get called by some worse hands, though, of course.
Yeah, which
Not this time. Harvey does have to fold his equity. Has a gut shot and an overcard to Chris's 10s, and they go into the muck. Maybe if we went small there, we would have maybe
might induce
encouraged him to do something. Yeah, make a
Yeah.
play. I was trying to think of the word. I didn't want to quite go to induced. Might get him speculating.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would want that with my hand.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. Whenever you have those like more mediocre hands, sometimes you can beef up your sizing a little bit to control the action.
Yeah, I was also thinking if he has a pair, like he's going to be quite inclined to call one bet. Whether that's true or not, that was my thought process.
Chris opens the button here. Going 2.5. Harvey defends, and good looking flop for Chris. That's an open ender. And a great chance to bet Harvey off of 54% equity. The biggest problem with playing out of position. Trying to know when to realize that equity and not knowing how much it's going to cost you to do it. What are you laughing about, Scott? I don't even know what I said.
Thought about check raising my hand here, but I decided I'd rather have like a deuce or a 5, like a pair that can improve to 2 pair, than having a pocket pair that only has 2 outs if I'm behind. I do have the spade in my hand and can like turn some straight draws, so maybe check raise fours would be good.
I could see that argument. Oh, Scott, you naughty boy, you know I can't stand it. I could see that argument working for both sides, actually. The fact that you can make 2 pairs with just a single pair, that could also work for making it a check call candidate.
Yeah, but if I'm going to bloat the pot, then I want to have better outs. Like, when I get this turn and he bets again, I know there's like a good chance that I'm folding the best hand.
Big problem with playing out of position.
Yeah, which is why like check raise becomes
I like it.
A good
I think I like check raise best.
consideration, you know, because you just kind of end the hand right away against the weaker parts of his range.
Yeah, I used to be afraid to, let's say in that situation, he c-bets for 1,000 pretty small. Let's say like I used to be afraid to have the option on the table of just making a very small raise myself. That is pretty indicative of the hand that I actually have, because I'd always have this fear that my opponent was going to immediately recognize what my raise meant and then immediately jump on it by taking whatever 2 cards they had and turning it like into a 3-bet bluff or turning it into a float and then bluff me on the turn or the river, whatever. And then once I just started doing it, I realized like, I mean, even if people are suspicious, like, oh, this may not be the ultimate strength, right? They're still like, well, he's got something. You still raise me, you know, like, and if they have nothing themselves, it still takes like a great leap of faith for them to turn it into a big 3-bet bluff on the flop, you know?
Yeah.
He's got to go for it. Just raise to 2,000 or 2.1 and just see what he does.
For sure. And it makes you get a lot of good results with a hand like 2-4s there that can't really compete on a lot of turns. So in this hand, I raise pre, I c-bet paired board, third pot, I think. He calls, and then we get a juicy turn card, giving both of us open-ended.
He's going to lead.
So yeah, Harvey goes for the lead. Again, I think it makes a lot of sense versus, I mean, I'm going to have so many hands that c-bet flop and then just don't know what to do facing a lead on the turn.
I mean, whenever you face this lead, what do you feel like it's most indicative of? What do you think he's got? It doesn't feel like a 4. Could be a 5.
I decided to attack it because I don't know.
I think both options could make
He
some
bets
sense
third.
here.
He bets third pot.
Yeah, it feels weak.
I mean, I think he. I mean, I'm assuming that he's doing this with strong hands and with bluffs, but just my thinking in game was that this is a board that he's going to have a lot of hands that donk bet this turn against me, which I think makes sense.
Yeah. It feels to me like
when he goes small, like I have a good hand that can raise, obviously with the 6, open ended, and I have position, and it ends up working. Now he has to fold.
Yeah. Folded.
Open ender and a better hand.
Way better.
But I mean, like I said, I think. Well, it's interesting. Like if he chooses to lead like half pot or maybe even 2/3 pot, then it probably prevents me from raising. Like I might just call there instead, which at least lets him see the river and might give him a better chance of winning. He told me he thought about 3-betting there after I raise on the turn, but it's just so hard to do when you're holding 2 hearts in your hand and a bare open ender on a double flush draw paired board.
I'd say it goes along right in line with what I was just talking about. Like you can kind of just make the play you want to play, and then force them to make the uncomfortable one, and that would be uncomfortable to turn a hand like he has right there into a 3-bet bluff. So even if he's suspicious, it like becomes that next step that's the hard one to take.
So
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to talk about this hand. I think I limped and he raises.
You're on the big blind here.
Oh, my bad.
He raised, we defend. And then it checks through on the flop, and we turn a pair. We river trips.
Yeah, this is another one of those spots where I was like, what size should I go? Like, what am I targeting? I'm thinking I'm targeting ace high, and I want to polarize with a lot of my hand. Like, I would polarize like a 9, a queen, a 6. Might not even have a queen. I just wanted to look like I have bluffs or value in this spot. And I think I would take the same size with maybe everything besides a 4.
Yeah, that seems good. I like it.
And probably just check a 4.
I think I would try and break my chips down into a couple of. I'd like add some black chips to it too, or something.
Just bet pot.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't have a lot of small chips, but
like
yeah.
3,300 or something.
Okay.
Just for like subtle meta of like make it look like I'm trying to look like my bet's big.
Yeah. I like that.
But not too much, because I don't want him to realize that's what I'm doing. I'm thinking 3 yellows and 3 blacks feels good.
I don't remember what. Well, I think I do remember what he does. I'll just wait. And
he's suspicious.
yeah. I mean,
I think it's a good play. I like it.
I mean, I think I'm surprised he folds ace king actually. Like, I don't blame him for folding, but it feels like ace king is like one of his best check down to the river bluff catching hands.
Yeah.
I don't know how many other like pairs and stuff he's gonna check down there that he decides can call with, but pretty clean run out for ace king, you know. And what am I repping? I mean, also if he thinks like I don't have a queen, and maybe he thinks I don't have a 9, but definitely disappointing to not get called there when you have value. But I still like my sizing. I think that's what I would want to do with bluffs and most of my value when we check down to the river. It's just such a unique spot where, like, I'm basically thinking he either has like snap folds or he has showdown value, right? And when he raises pre-flop and then checks down, he's weighted toward showdown value. Ace high, king high, maybe some small pairs. So I'm just trying to target those kind of hands. But when I see him fold ace king, it makes me wonder if betting pot is good. Not going to speculate too much on what's the best because I'm just
Just
doing-
guessing like the rest of us.
just guessing like everyone else, just doing what I think.
Yeah. That's what we're all doing, bud. Anybody out there always know what to do when they're playing poker?
What do you think about he raises pre here and we have 9 deuce suited? Do you ever consider folding this hand
Yeah, I think I'd probably just fold.
even though it's suited?
I'd probably call versus men open.
I felt very close to folding.
Oh, he did almost men open, so maybe I'd call
Yeah, it
him.
was 1,000 more.
Yeah.
If it was bigger, I was like, 1,000 more, like
Yeah.
suited, gonna defend.
Yeah, I think like over 2.5x, I'd probably fold.
Yeah, I'm with that.
13. These are numbers I don't like.
That's what you said? Chris.
He bet 13.
Yep. Using numbers I don't like. Hey, you know I'm with it. You know I'm with it. Scott over here.
Now we have
Tear me up.
another like, I mean, he c-bets flop, checks back turn. So like again, what are we targeting now? Targeting pairs, ace highs. We're
Ace
targeting
highs.
some bluff catches. What kind of size would you go here? Ace highs, some turn 7x.
What do you think about one blind?
I was thinking, I mean, I think there's merit to that. I was thinking like with front door diamonds that I have a lot of those.
Yeah.
I just go 2/3, but again, I feel like any size has merit really. Like every time I got one of these river spots, I was thinking I could go one blind all the way up to pot.
Yeah.
And I could make an argument for all of them.
When I can't tell the difference, I like to default to the smaller ones, because then you can potentially hang in there versus raises more often.
Yeah.
You can induce a raise and get more money from that sometimes.
What do you mean by can't tell the difference?
In terms of, I can't even speculate about if my EV is higher at the smaller size or the bigger size. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see betting.
It's
I mean,
almost,
it just
I
sucks
guess
to
it's,
bet like one big blind and then get called by like a 7 or something.
yeah, I mean, a 7 would kind of be worst case scenario, but obviously the argument for betting the one blind is you're going to get called by a lot more than a 7.
Yeah, what about like 1/3?
Yeah.
you feel
I mean, I feel like you can still get called by 7, but just when I went to that size in my head, it kind of felt like no man's land.
Yeah, one big is kind of, I mean, it is
I'd rather go
nice.
bigger than 1/3 or smaller than 1/3. It's like, do I want to try and get called by ace high or worse?
Yeah,
Or do I want to just target a 7 mostly?
right. Or do I want to, or do I want to induce a bluff
Yeah.
and bet one big blind and then, I mean, you can definitely see, especially against a player like Harvey, that's going to be trying to look for spots to attack.
Yeah. Like, what do you think you'd do right there with the king 8 if you just bet one blind? That puts him in a very awkward
Right.
spot.
Yeah, where he's like he either has to decide between raising, side calling, or folding potentially the best hand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're aggravated when you're him.
I mean, if I can see his hand, I would choose one big blind all day against that hand. I don't know. But that's the trouble with poker is you can't see their hand.
Yeah.
Don't know what we're going
But you
after.
can feel that like at one big blind size is going to put him in a lot of really awkward situations.
Yeah. think they
Even
were-
like if he does have like, let's say, like an ace high or like a weak 7 or something, like he's not happy to just call one blind. Then he's like, man, I thought my 7 was worth like 3 blinds. You know, do I want to raise it? No, not really. But kind of sucks that this guy's getting to control the action down to the end, even though this time it would happen to line up that your hand was strong enough to go bigger.
Yeah, I think there were probably a few times where betting small would have worked out better than the size I chose. I mean, we've already seen him fold king high and ace high in 2 spots where I had value. But I mean, I don't want to be too results oriented because he could
No,
just have a
and I
pair.
like the really big bet in the other one.
Yeah, I think that one has more merit. The 9, I probably
If we had a better 9, but we're going to get value on against all other 9s.
Yeah, I just think he's betting the turn with almost all his 9s a lot. Maybe not.
I don't know. We've seen him
Just
check back and protect those ranges some.
For sure.
We get away right here.
Yeah. Definitely with 9 deuce. Makes sense to just, I like it. You've convinced me. I think one big blind with that hand and then call a raise.
Yeah. I mean, he'd feel like he got soloed too if he raises king high because he's attacking your 1 blind. Then you just snap him off with 9 deuce. I wouldn't actually expect Harvey to go for a raise very often in that spot because he's going to be too suspicious that that's what you're doing. But even if he is, it's still just a sucky spot for him.
Yeah, it forces him to make a decision, and like he might just call a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you get the blind in value.
Yeah, exactly.
My first one was a while.
I mean, if I'm sitting there with like a king high and the guy bets bigger, you're kind of thankful that, like, okay, I just get to fold and not worry about it.
Yeah.
You know, like if he bets small, especially if there's other people, oh man, when you're like at a full ring table and someone makes a little bet like that, it's so annoying. Just like, dang it, I'm about to embarrass myself in front of everyone.
And another argument for betting small is that there's probably more combos of just like 2 random cards, like what he had, than there are of the range of hands that I was targeting, which was like deuces, 3s, 5s, 6s.
Right, for sure.
7s.
That's what I was saying in heads up play too. It's like there's so many more times to do that. And the reason to not do it is kind of to avoid having an unbalanced strategy. But if you sort of move that down the priority list, then I think there's a lot of times heads up where it can make sense to just make like little stabbing cheap bets.
What happened? Check flop.
Got
Okay,
a pot
so-
brewing here.
Yeah, this is another fun little spot here.
Yeah, you open the button and Harvey defends.
And then I
And
see
he check calls the flop.
Yeah, and now he leads again on a board pair.
Yeah, this is pretty ambitious check call right here by him. He's got the gut shot, but it interacts with the 10 in a way that he's basically trying to make a one-liner.
Yeah, I thought about raising him again here with the 5 in my hand because he bets third pot, and there's so many draws out there. Jack 9, clubs, hearts, some gut shots like he has, 6-4. I mean, I wouldn't have guessed that he was that light in the moment, but I thought about raising for value. Decided not to this time because last time I raised him with a draw, and then now I have a hand that definitely.
I kind of think that would be a super dope play, actually, to raise like 4.5K and check back the river.
Yeah, raise and then check back the river. I didn't
It'd
want
be
to.
above the rim, but this is definitely a very normal play to call with that price and just go to showdown.
Maybe the fact that he mentioned wanting to 3-bet last time played. Yeah, I say it right here.
Ooh, a little needle.
Yeah, that was going into my thinking. I really did want to raise, and then I was like, last time he talked about 3-betting, he might do it this time, and then it sucks for my hand.
You're talking about on the turn?
Yeah. But I do think there's still a lot of merit to raising that hand. I mean, when he leads, like, I don't think he could be leading a 10. I guess the small size, like, can include a lot of hands, but in the moment I was thinking it's going to be mostly an 8 or some draws.
Yeah. I feel like my hand is so
also
weak that I'm not, like, if he does decide to 3-bet bluff me with a draw here, I'm just going to give him a high 5.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. Just raise, and then if he 3-bets, be like, okay.
Yeah, because it's going to be like the weakest hand that I'll do that with, and I'm going to have some strong hands too, for sure. A lot of them, especially after we've had that conversation. I would definitely like try and be more weighted towards value there. Strong value.
Another thing that I was thinking is if I raise this hand, then I don't have a lot of, I don't know what hands I have that call turn and then can bluff catch river, because then I'm literally raising all my value, which, you know, maybe I don't need to have any.
I don't know that you have to do that just because you raise this one, though. Couldn't there be some stronger hands that you want to just call with, but the ace-5 needs, like, ultimate protection?
Yeah, like what, like a 10?
Was that the trips card?
No, 8 was the trips card.
Yeah.
10 was top pair.
Yeah, so like a 10 or, what was it?
Oh, I want to go back on. Well, this is the
You gonna rewind it?
Sure.
Sorry.
Well, wait, we don't have to rewind. We just checked. We checked down to the river. Want to bring attention to the.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. This one, it was just a limp and then checks down. But we get to the river here, and Harvey takes his 4-3 offsuit, says, I obviously have no showdown value. I'm playing the board, and goes for a 2x pot. And now Chris, who has checked 3 times, can decide if he wants to hero with the queen
Straight
high.
on the board, too. King 7-9, 10-9.
And this wouldn't have been that crazy if he bets like 1 blind into 2 blinds, but instead he bets 4 into 2. And
Yeah, he
it'd be a pretty big pretty big call.
Overbets pot 2x. I just have a feeling.
Boom, it goes in. Got him. He flips it over with confidence.
Yeah.
Hopes Chris throws it in the muck. Not this time, buddy. Queen high, good.
Yeah,
Nice one, dude. That's fun.
That was a nice confidence boost right there. Always good to pick up those. I mean, those pots make a big difference heads up when, you know, you could easily just throw your queen high in the muck, but piece together, just have a nice little, I guess, breakdown of the spot, and just thought that queen high was going to be good a lot. And nice to pick up those chips when you do put them in.
No doubt.
I was interested to see what you were about to turn over.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Another little needle right there. I see you. Working on that speech play, too.
Yeah, we were having fun.
Yeah.
Having some fun.
Yeah, I don't have any pity for Harvey after hearing him do the SMU talk to the last guy while he limped the kings. He's slick. He knows what he's doing.
I guess we'll try to stay on top of the hands.
This was a raise right here from Chris and a defend from Harvey in the big blind. Harvey checks. Chris c-bets. He's got some backdoor draws.
Yeah.
Seems very reasonable. Harvey's out of there. And that's why I c-bet right there, folks. You get someone to fold the hand that's got 65, 70, 75% against you. Aggression in position or king.
Safine made a pretty epic play in the tournament at my table.
Yeah.
Did he tell you about it?
I didn't. Hero call it off?
Yeah, it was sick. I can like short.
Yeah.
Use short now. He like opens early, gets 1 caller, button, pretty aggro guy, 3 bets. Safine calls. I think they go heads up. And then this was his epic hand. Off is like ace, queen, low. Can't remember if that's flush draw or not, but check, bet, call. Turn. Oh yeah, if there was a flush draw, turn is another low card, double flush draw. Check, check. River, like medium brick. Following so far?
Yeah, I'm with it so far. Double flush draw, ace, queen.
I'll tell you.
Chris opens the button here. Got Harvey dominated. And outflops him. Probably no value to be had here. Harvey with absolutely nothing.
So they get to the river. The pot is like, pretty big. In the hand, he said I like kind of miscalculated. The pot's like 35K or something like that. Yeah. Safine bets super tiny. Like, yeah, he bets like 10th pot, like 3,600 into 35K. Guy jams for 50K. Roughly. So, huge jam.
River's a brick, right?
Yeah. Yeah, brick, no flush. It's an interesting hand too. But I don't want to talk over the story. I had he raises, and then I have a decision whether I want to 3-bet or not. He has 24 big blinds, so I decide I don't want to 3-bet versus the stack size with this hand, that I want to take a more polar approach against 24 big blinds of having like some clear raise folds.
Like that 100%, especially when he goes to a small sizing like 2.2. This feels like a really nice call.
Yeah, and like if we raise and he jams, like now we have no idea what I mean, we have to fold ace-3 suited, in my opinion, which can sometimes be the best hand or have a lot of equity, but that's why I decide just to call. Betting flop and then checking back, super wet board. Oh man, so this is another really interesting hand. We turn the ace. I'm just putting these small aces into my checks and then betting my bigger aces. Give Harvey some rope to bluff. He bets. I think we have a clear turn call. But I'm already starting to think like when Harvey raises pre and checks back flop, he has a lot of ace-X in his range. And like some of his bluffs are discounted, not c-betting the flop. But that being said, he's obviously gonna, like, if he does check back some weaker hands on the flop, I think he's gonna attack an ace a lot on the turn. And we've checked our ace under repping our hand. But he bets 6,000 into 8.8 on the river on a king. And intuitively, I just really, like, I go for my chip and then I stop. Just have a feeling like I could put a little bit more thought into the spot and maybe find a hero fold. But at the same time, it's heads up and I have top pair.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I mean, 6K too, like I have him down to 25 bigs, you know, that's a factor. Like,
Yeah, just call queen eye.
giving, yeah, see, he was nice. Talking about hero folding top pair after making the hero call with queen high.
Yeah.
Have some speech play going on.
Yeah. It's a tough spot.
Little back and forth. Yeah.
You know he's a aggressive player.
Yeah.
I do like your line of thinking that feels like he checks back a lot of ace highs and c-bets a lot of non-ace highs, and makes a lot of sense for him to have a hand just like that. But also makes logical sense that I do think that maybe I just check my whole range on the turn to him there. This feels like a card he's gonna delay bet almost every time.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Which would mean that I'm probably not going to bet my bigger aces, actually. So I'm not quite as far down in my ranges. I mean, I don't have big enough aces because I'm 3-betting pre-flop with those biggest ones.
I was thinking on the turn I would bet, but actually maybe you're right now that you say it. Like I can just call with bigger aces and fold.
I think I just check call pretty much all of my aces and then check again on the end.
I mean, in game I was thinking I would want to bet like ace-10 and ace-jack. Start getting some bet.
I think that just complicates the strategy too much.
I like what you're saying.
With my really strong hands too, like let's say we flop 2 pair and it check through on the flop.
Yeah.
Like I'm just going to check again and let him bet that ace and then check raise.
Yeah.
So I'll just check my whole range.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. So we could still find a fold with like ace-3 on the river sometimes.
Probably you're supposed to call, but I think if you feel it, if you're feeling the hero fold, I wouldn't think it's crazy at all.
Yeah, so the end of that hand, in case anybody was following. Safine block bets 10th pot on ace-queen low, turn low card, double flush draw, river complete break. He block bets 10th pot, guy overbet jams on ace-queen board, Safine tank calls, and villain shows pocket nines and Safine turns over 2 jacks
Wow.
for a huge,
This is
huge pot
in the tournament?
in the mystery bounty.
Wow.
Yeah.
On an ace-queen board.
Yeah. Pretty epic.
Pretty epic. Nice.
I was impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, he bet 3,600 and called 50,000 with third pair
Yeah, that's crazy.
in a 3-bet pot.
Yeah. And the other guy was turning the 9s into a bluff.
Yeah.
I think you just pay. I could have that many better. If I'm bluffing.
That ace hand, too, is just like, I mean, I really don't know. My assumption is that Harvey is c-betting a lot of hands there, like we said, and just doesn't have as, I mean, he might not even have enough bluffs to like counteract his ace X that check back.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's
turn.
why I was thinking you could potentially find the hero fold, but we don't know that to be true either.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we saw him like check give up some other hands out of position, like the 8-5 and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, it was a little extreme, but still, I'm with you.
Different.
And Chris opens the button here.
Oh, this hand is pretty crazy too.
Yeah, we got the 2 queens. It's a call from Harvey, and then we check on the flop. An interesting argument, I think, there about
Yeah.
betting the range. But we check this time, and then Harvey checks again on the turn.
I'm choosing to like have some checkbacks on these kind of flops, but I'm definitely with you that you can just bet your whole range, simplify. Now I bet quarter pot, and keeping the king high.
That worked out great.
Harvey checks. Another question of sizing here.
Yeah.
My thinking is I want to target a jack or any pair. And I checked back flop, so I just kind of want to polarize. I thought it'd be a fun line to like check back flop, bet quarter pot on the turn, and then bet big on the river, and I can just have like a lot of delay c-betting type of hands. Again, maybe I'm like c-betting all of my bluffs on the flop, but in game I was thinking I have some check backs, see what he does on the turn, small turn bet to set up a big river bet. So I go for 5K into 6.5. And Harvey's in the tank with an 8. And in game, I was thinking like I would do this. I mean, I do think I'm doing this with some ace-X hands that just really want to give some rope in these spots. Like it sucks to bet trips on the flop and just get snap folds. He jams.
Whoa. Whoa.
Surprise for 30K. So big jam.
Yeah, and he makes a move here.
Again, I had a feeling like in this hand that Harvey would
to a bluff.
like would make a play, like could find this kind of play with some showdown value type of hands, like maybe a 10x, a 9x, an 8. It's also realizing like there's a straight on the board that I didn't think that hard about when I made my big bet.
So Harvey just defending pre-flop. Probably takes like ace jack, pocket jacks, maybe even 8s and 7s out of his range. So that leaves him with some ace X's for sure. Mostly the smaller ones like ace 9, ace 8, ace 7 would definitely be possible here.
Yeah, and how many of those just call a small turn, check twice, call a small turn bet,
Right.
and then decide to check raise versus the sizing?
Sure, I was getting there. But I'm with you. Yes. Yeah, they all kind of get discounted along the way. Kind of comes down to like how capable you think he is of like making a crazy play, because if he's never making the crazy play, then him having any potential candidates for strong hands that would do this would dominate the range. And then the crazier he gets and the more capable you think he is of making a move, the more that range gets diluted.
Yeah, that was a really fun line by him. I like his decision to check jam river, especially if he thinks I'm not checking back like an ace on the flop. I mean, that hand just went onto a couple of levels for me.
Sure.
Like, I was having trouble deciding, like, does he think that I'm checking back an ace? Is he trying to target a hand like I have? Or is he doing this, like, expecting me to have an ace sometimes?
Yeah. Do you think that he would do this with, let's say, just a naked small ace, like ace 5?
I think that I should have put more thought into what specifically, like, what value hands he would do that with.
Yeah.
In the moment, I was kind of focused on, like, me having better bluff catchers than 2 queens.
Sure.
And him, like, even though I think he is taking, like, I did think he would turn a pair into a bluff. I also thought he could easily have 10-9, which is a straight. And he could have ace X, but I wasn't going, I don't think I was going deep enough into thought about which ace X would actually take this line,
Yeah.
which now in hindsight, like,
Not too many.
I think it's pretty limited.
Yeah, it is. I think so too. I'd be surprised if he has like ace
So,
5.
yeah, so he's like more so repping like
Ace 8, ace 7 or full houses.
some full houses and straights.
And those full houses would have had to check call. Was he out? He was out of position.
Yeah.
So he would have had to check call turn for a small bet with a full house, unless it was ace 8 specifically, which that one would make the most sense.
And like you said, he's probably 3-betting ace jack.
And pocket 8s probably too. Maybe pocket 7s kind of mixes. That's a possibility, but he'd have to check call the turn with that as well, and then check shove river, so it's discounted. Dang, Johnny High Roller coming in clutch, recognizing the HHP. He wants the reboot, boys. I've tossed around the idea of making content, Johnny, but we just haven't had it come together. We'll see. Jack's talked about it some too, so who knows if we get the urge to do it. We just don't quite have it in us to make content for that profit motivation, which I think is what keeps people really going on the train. When we're just doing it for fun, it just kind of comes and goes, the motivation to do it. So we'll see. You never know. Here we are. We're making content right now, dude. You're here in the midst of it. Watching Chris play live and hearing him talk about it. That is content.
Yeah, man, that hand is just making me dizzy, honestly.
The queens?
Yeah. I mean, I really
Making you dizzy.
Yeah.
Think about all the aspects of it.
I think obviously well executed play by Harvey, and he does get me off of sort of the kind of hand that I'm repping really with that line. I'm wondering now in game, I was thinking like, even if I want to hero call with queens, I don't know if I can justify it for that many chips. I think it was like, I don't know how many big blinds it was, but it was 5K to 30K. So a pretty big raise. And like I said, I thought I can just call with an ace and be happy with that. But the more that we talk about like what hands does Harvey actually, like if he's turning an 8, like king 8 into a bluff, let's say, like he has a lot of bluffs to choose from, 8x, 7x, that get to the river, and probably doesn't have that much value.
I'm thinking value, pocket 7s occasionally discounted, ace 7.
Even
Definitely
sevens,
possible. And then
3-bet pre.
yeah, that's why I discounted.
All the pocket.
And then the number one thing that I think he can have is a straight.
Yeah, 10-9.
10-9. Maybe all the offsuit combos of it.
Just calls turn with a gut shot for on a paired board.
It's a small bet though.
Yeah,
I
quarter
could
pot.
see that.
Yeah,
Maybe it's discounted some because he might just fold to the small bet sometimes too.
yeah.
But I think that's definitely possible. It is fair, though, that if you have to give someone credit for taking a hand that might be perceived to have showdown value and turning it into a bluff, like you mentioned, like a 7-8 or
Yeah, it's definitely
or
giving
7x or
him
8x.
credit for that.
Yeah, it gives him some credit. And I think if you are giving him credit for that, then maybe we can find the hero call.
That would be pretty epic.
Be pretty epic.
but we don't do it that time.
It's alright. It's a tough spot for sure. Great play by Harvey to not be afraid to go for it.
Yeah, very creative. Hard to pull the trigger too when I bet close to pot on the river. So, like I said, really good execution by him to just go for it regardless of my bet size. And I'm thinking to most likely target a jack or 2 queens, 2 kings, kind of a hand that looks like it would check back flop.
Yeah. We kind of played our hand the way that it was, that it wanted to as an individual.
Yeah.
And then he tried to take advantage of us for it, and it worked out that time.
Yeah. That was a fun one. I want to talk to him more about that one.
Sure. We made 2 pair here.
I want to hear what he thinks about what value hands he would get to the river with. Because I do find it hard pressed that he would have too many trips that take that line.
I mean, ace 9.
I mean, can you, how?
I still don't even know if he'd do that. I feel like he'd not. He'd feel like that was an overplay maybe.
Right.
But maybe not, I don't know. But like ace 8, ace 7 are obviously straights, and then like ace 10 is that. I mean, ace jack, ace queen, ace king are probably all 3 betting pre-flop, so like maybe ace 10, ace 9. Man, dude, you're thinking about that in the past and the present.
Thoughts just take hold.
You've got past you and present you working on the answer, giving you feedback.
Trying to get Harvey's advice.
Yeah, Harvey's working on it. I'm working on it. Hey, all you guys out there in the chat, can y'all work on this one for us?
Yeah, please
some
tell me,
feedback on
what
the
would
queen's
you
hand.
do with 2 queens? Would you play it the same way? I also felt like I set myself up for that river check raise by checking back the flop, which I wasn't happy about.
Also said you could simplify this whole thing by range betting, but
Yeah,
whatever. Goes without saying, that's kind of implied.
bet
Range
flop.
betting's more simple.
bet flop. I'm actually thinking, like, can we go for 3 streets with our hand versus Jack X heads
Yeah,
up?
it's definitely possible.
Just
Kind
go
of depends
like-
on how the sizings roll out.
Could go like quarter flop, 3rd turn, 3rd river, or something like that. But I don't know if we
Yeah.
want to do that with like an ace. I don't know. We could have like some thin value lines and then some.
Sure.
Poker's fun.
Poker's fun, boys. You guys having some fun out there today? What is this? This is Monday, guys. It's Monday afternoon.
Here we go. This is an interesting spot too. We see bet bottom pair. Harvey check raises with Jack 5, so has the 3 cards to a straight. We hit a gin turn card, making some hands. We hit trips. He does decide to check, and I just don't think I ever want to check this back. I end up, let's see what I do. I think when he check raises flop and checks turn, maybe we don't, maybe we do sometimes, but I think he's got like some 10x, some 6x, some straight draws, some pure air like he has. But versus check raise, check line, I want to have some turn bets, and he could even have a 4 here too, which is what I was thinking, that sometimes check raise checks to be tricky, and I have a king kicker, so I'm trying to put more chips in the pot. I bet half pot. Maybe that is too big. Maybe could go 3rd there. Definitely have hands that want to check back, like a 10 might be more inclined to check back. 6 I'm definitely checking back. Some weaker 4x I could see checking back. Yeah, Harvey's a great player, and I was having a lot of fun trying to piece together a strategy in every hand of what I thought would be most effective against my opponent. I'm sure he was doing the same thing. Definitely see him making some big plays.
Big flop for him right here.
Yeah, thankfully we don't have anything. But I led a couple times in these limped pots. Probably, this hand is probably way too loose. I had a 7, you know. Had the 8-7-6, so I thought just gonna attack his limping range and hope he has some pure give ups. He raises, I fold.
I'm sorry, Lego. We just, I mean, I honestly, like, just have blacked out several times that we're even on stream, and I just feel like I'm sitting here chit-chatting with Chris about poker. Sorry if we're going too far into the weeds here, boys. We're out in the weeds. Johnny wants to know, was this recorded yesterday? It was 2 days ago that it was recorded, and this is the finals matchup. We got not Frankie. We got Chris against Harvey here in the finals. This was an 8-player tournament played down to these two guys right here for the championship. This is the first of a best of 3 finals matchup.
Graphics are behind a little bit. I'm first to act on the button, and I raise. Guessing he folds.
Did you see the hand where I showed queens over there? It might have been like right.
Talking about my match against the boy.
I played queens free flop. I don't even. He was like shortish. Yeah. So I've been limping more. Yeah. He checks. Flop comes 9-9-9. As good as it gets. And then he checks. Yeah.
Lego saying he's enjoying the discussion. Just didn't have
Nice.
didn't have anything to add at this point.
He said he gleamed a nugget earlier and then forgot it. I'm sure it's in there somewhere, though, dude. And I'm glad you were able to pick up a nugget. We appreciate that. Always nice to drop one and
Since forgot.
make it useful for someone else.
Like 7-6 run out. Yeah, checkers is flop.
Also got Giljack Poker saying, when is the next one happening? This is sick.
I hated this hand, I gotta say. So, limp, check. He bets flop. I was like really torn on whether I should continue or not, but I decided I think ace high, overcard, and gutter in a limped pot. Like I should call, I should peel.
Yep.
Then I drill it, and I think I should just always check again here. I think he's going to be inclined to rep an ace a lot.
Yeah.
And he's going to just have a lot of bluffs. And he's weighted toward the kind of hand that he has right here over like 2-pair type of hands, not raising pre-flop. But I go for a lead, trying to be tricky.
It's a punt, Chris.
On the board change, it's such a punt, dude. Such a punt. Like, what am I doing? Leading the nuts.
Just giving you a hard time.
No, I really thought like he might perceive me to be leading a board changing card and like do something, like he might do something.
I know, but
it just
there's nothing for him to call with.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was thinking when he bets flop, he's got stuff there, but he doesn't really because he didn't.
I feel like he'd raise almost every time with the 2 pairs. He could have like a king 4 offsuit or something for sure, but I don't even think he'll call a bet with that.
Because I was like,
Yeah, that
Maybe
was
he will. I don't know.
Nobody's free, like,
probably my most regretful decision of the whole tournament. Was the leading.
Was that right there?
That lead, that turn lead with the ace. Like, what?
I'd agree with you that it's by far the worst play I've seen you make. Sorry.
It was bad. Would have been cool. Yeah. Would have been like he could have potentially just fired off there.
Yeah.
I don't like this play.
yeah. Especially with like just one overcard. I mean,
Well, that's why you're
just one big card. Yeah, you don't need to do it.
showdown. Like you're ahead of your range on clubs and equity.
But yeah, that one worked out nicely. You obviously wasn't expecting.
I'm sure he's just thinking like you have so much air, which is fair.
Yeah.
You kind of don't want an ace.
But once I call twice, it gets kind of dicey. But like on the river, I thought like maybe he picked up a 7 or something, and I can jam it. Yeah. I'll call it off. And like my hand is super sneaky. I need to think for a second.
Okay, so Harvey limps off of 25 big blinds. And now I have one of those sort of polar hand candidates that I was talking about earlier when I had the ace-3 suited. And I decided, well, that was facing a raise, but I have a hand that I felt like fits nicely into a polar raising range here versus limps because I want to be attacking his limps, but I don't want to do it with like hands that are in an awkward spot if he jams. So I decided a king-8 offsuit is a pretty reasonable candidate to go for a raise here and attack his limp. And it's a good result when we get him off of a hand like this that has a lot of equity
Sure.
and playability post-flop.
All seems reasonable to me.
These are the kind of spots, like I don't know if,
I just decided it wasn't worth
like what would you do with a hand like Jack-10 suited, let's say?
He limps. We're in the big blind.
Yeah, off 20. He has 25 bigs and he limps. We have Jack-10 suited.
I think I got to raise that hand.
What about like Jack-9 suited?
I think I'm still mostly raising that hand.
You are.
I think so.
I was like, it's just not worth it in case he has a 9.
What about suited aces? Are you raising all of those?
Just about. I'd say so.
Okay.
I mean, just a limping range when I just feel so strong. I mean, his range is so weak. Our hand feels so strong to just check back and let him see with.
So it sounds like you wouldn't be taking a polar raising range there like I'm talking about.
I mean, I think you could still call it polar.
Well, I mean, that would be more.
Suited ace still fits into the polar part of that. Maybe not polar to the degree that I'm always going to call if he shoves.
Okay, well, what kind of hand do you think you could raise that you would be more inclined to call because of stack size, or just check because of stack size? I mean, the kind of range you're describing sounds more linear to me. It's like pretty much every strong hand in a linear range you're going to choose to raise, you know? Comes less.
How about
Yeah.
King 10 offsuit?
You would check?
Yeah, something like that. How about offsuit aces?
Yeah, like ace-9 or ace-8.
Sure. Ace-8 seems perfect. Right in the meat of it.
This hand, I limped ace-8 suited, which definitely couldn't be raised. But I just decided to throw this into a limp in case he raises, and I have like a
Sure.
happy defend.
Seems fine to me.
I want to talk more about the out of position 25 big blind. What if he had like 15 big blinds? Now what are you doing with Jack-10 suited versus limp?
Just checking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your threshold, do you think? Like,
I mean, I'm gonna determine the threshold based on how much if there's how much he can shove for that I don't want to call. Like, let's say 18 to 20 starts to feel like I could raise to, like, let's say 2.5 and then fold if he shoves for 18 blind.
but you want to raise 2.5
20.
out of position versus a limp? Because I would normally raise to 4 big blinds there
4 feels enormous.
versus a button limp.
Yeah. Man, I don't think it's crazy to raise some hands to 4, but that feels like a lot. It should
So
be
you-
like you're required to raise all of your hands to 4
Yeah.
blinds. I don't think so.
Not saying you're required, just would be inclined to have more fold equity. But
I mean, with Jack 10 suited, it's not like my main objective to have
Sure.
fold equity.
So
Kind of
you would
happy just to
go-
like bump the pot to 2.5 and like have him call me with
so you're
8-6
raising,
offsuit.
I mean, like 1.5 more on top of the blind.
I don't think so.
It's out there.
Is that out there?
That's out there, I'm saying.
Is it?
No, I mean,
Like far out?
no, I mean on top of the blind, the one blind that's already out there.
Oh, yeah.
There's 2 big blinds in the pot, so you're raising 1.5 on top.
I mean, I feel like
it
that
does-
still commands a lot of power when you've only got 20 blinds in your stack. And you
Yeah.
just limped in. You probably got a crap hand. You got 9-6 offsuit or something. And
Yeah, I think I would want to go 2 more big blinds on top.
sure. I mean, I think anything in that range is okay. I think they're all on the table.
But yeah, that's fair, and then you can still comfortably fold to 4 bets.
Sure.
Or not 4 bet, but re-raises.
I mean, I'm just raising my Jack 10 suited because it's so strong compared to his limping range.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm definitely on board with that. Maybe I was overthinking it a little bit. I'm not very familiar with these short stack tournament situations.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking like under 25 bigs.
You just have a 9 or a 6 and check and they win.
I want to be. Oh wow, he has a 10. I bet third pot here. I've floated the flop out of position. He c-bets, I call with not a lot going on.
Yeah.
Just kind of had some.
Guys are actually chopping here, so a
Ideas
fold
with
is
my
huge for
heart.
you if
Oh yeah, we are chopping.
he does make a fold.
I'm just shocked that. I mean, I'm spoiling it, but he does fold. I thought he was tanking with like a 6.
Yeah.
Which would make a lot of sense. Betting flop, checking back turn. I'm really surprised he folds second pair to third pot.
Yeah.
What did I guess he had? Oh, he guessed I had 5-7. Wow. Well, that is a good result considering we were chopping. I wonder what. Guess he just thinks that I have a lot of better hands. I don't know. I mean, I would in the moment I was thinking like I would bet a 9 probably, but maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I would check. There's a flush on board and that's straight. I don't know. It's just whenever somebody c-bets and checks back turn, I like to bet if I have a pair.
Yeah.
I like to try to get thin. But I guess that spot was pretty dynamic. He's checking back a lot of strong hands, including like a queen on that turn. So we have the same hand.
A 2-3 I would have went,
Oh yeah, that
but I didn't want to.
I fold twice at 5-15 or 1-15. That's another strategy
500 is too much.
because I'm getting 5-1.
I probably should limp it.
What are you saying?
Right now the blinds are 115.
Oh, 1,000, 1,500. Yeah. So that goes back to like that 2-3 level that we had
Yeah.
at the beginning.
Where we should play any 2, but now
Yeah.
it's like for more. Like it's bigger. Like
Yeah.
our odds are the same, but the bet is bigger.
Right.
So I folded. So twice I get 9-3 off and 9 deuce off.
And you just fold.
I fold both.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously it can't be that bad. Either way, it feels like it can't be that bad. See, Harvey's got the 9-4 off and does decide to limp. Pretty similar hand class. And yeah, I feel like I'd probably just limp with any 2 on the button.
Thought about calling here with the queen high and the diamond. Probably falls into a call heads up, but didn't want to mess with it.
They go, paying attention to those anomalies. That's why we love poker, baby. You see the 9-3, the 9-3 Badoogie come out, and it just gives you that satisfying feeling, right? You'll even hear guys who have been playing for a decade, they'll just be like, oh, I made a straight flush yesterday. You know, like it's, even if they didn't win any money, just the fact that the cards came out in an anomaly, something you hardly ever see, it just gets people riled up. They love it. You want to come up here and play some Badoogie, Lego? That's probably one of my top 3, maybe top 5 favorite poker games. Probably top 5. Chris, you got a top 3 favorite poker games? Let me do mine while you finish that. Top 3 favorite poker games. Number 1. No, let's work backwards. Number 3 is going to be 7-card stud, 8 or better. Number 3 poker game on my list. 7-card stud, 8 or better, aka stud 8. Number 2 most favorite poker game. One a lot of you guys probably have never heard of is Raz Doogie, the super version. Super Raz Doogie. That is Badoosie played as a stud game. That is a split pot between the best Badoogie hand, the best deuce to 7 hand played in stud format. You get dealt 4 cards down and get to discard 2 of them. So that's about the craziest poker game I can imagine. And it is my number 2. And I'm going to come back to number 1
Here we
right
go.
after this hand.
We got bottom pair and flush draw versus middle pair.
This was a limp from Harvey pre-flop.
This was a fun hand too. I lead.
Lead makes sense. I think either option could be on the table.
On turn, I decided I was going to turn my hand into a check raise if he bets. Just felt like it's a good candidate to have some like sneaky check raises on this board. We have a lot of equity. Could probably bet turn, check call turn, or check raise turn with this hand.
Yeah.
But kind of sucks. We brick out and just lose. What do you think? Yeah. I don't know.
It all makes sense.
Yeah, I think any option is fine. Just mix. Betting turn that time probably would have got the job done, but
Give me the chance to do any raises.
Lego dropping that he likes the no limit, the crazy pineapple, and the PLO. And I've got to go back to my list here. Number 3 on the list was stud 8. Number 2, Super Razdoogie. And number 1, guys, number 1 of all time, this might be a little surprising after hearing those first 2, is No Limit Texas Hold'em, the Cadillac of poker. Best poker game of all time, in my opinion, for one simple reason, which is that you can bet more than what's in the pot, allowing you to dictate the action of the hand pre-flop with your bet sizings. The other games do not allow you to do that. And that makes Hold'em stand alone in its own category and makes it the funnest poker game to me.
okay, so back to the match. We're getting down to the blinds are going up and our stacks are getting short-ish. We have 28 bigs and 24 bigs, respectively.
Both flop a pair here.
Yeah. We both flop a pair again. And I guess it was limped pot. I bet in position on the flop. He check calls. We turn trips for the second time in the match, maybe. I go ahead and continue for a half pot. And this is the kind of situation where like my trips is a little bit more disguised, given that I bet the flop. He might not expect me to always bet flop with bottom pair. Like that's a hand that can sometimes check back. But he has a 6. He's not going anywhere. Check calls the turn. And now we get to the river, Nick. And let's play. What size do you choose?
I bet you're gonna go pretty sizable right here. I'm thinking somewhere up 9 to 10K. Might be my guess.
I think that you know me too well. I don't want to play you heads up.
Two pinkies slide right in.
Yep. We go for the big bet. And Harvey immediately says, I'm not getting raised.
He says I'm not gonna raise. That's
Yeah.
what he said.
He says, you're not getting raised.
Oh. Puts Chris at ease.
Yeah. No, I probably just never going anywhere on trips, so. But it does put me at ease.
Always nice to know that you're free rolling. You have the best hand, and this guy might give you 10,000 more.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I should be disappointed when he says that.
That he's not gonna potentially raise you.
Yeah, but like we're so short that if he does raise, he's like probably can never be bluffing. So anyway, we don't have to go down that rabbit hole. So Harvey goes into the tank now. And of course, I'm just hoping for a call. This would be a really big pot to win at this stage. And given that the hearts, there's a heart draw on the flop and it's a limped pot, it's really hard to, you know, in his shoes, it's really hard to reduce or narrow down the kind of hands that I have here. He's probably thinking that King X is discounted since I didn't raise pre-flop. So that's factoring into his decision. He blocks 4-3, which would have made it straight on the river, the deuce. Says he's gonna flip a coin. He's in pain. He doesn't know what to do. At first, I thought he was gonna snap call, and I was gonna be stoked.
He's gonna let you pick.
Yeah, he wanted me to pick. You don't see me, but
You declined.
I don't react at all. He picks the wrong card for us.
Oh no, he lets it go.
Finds the fold. So sad.
And we had the goods, boys.
I show a 3. 3 of hearts.
Nice.
Really, really good card to show.
Nice, that's fun.
The deuce coming in. Makes me wonder if, I mean, puts us straight on board. Makes it slightly harder to get called by one pair for a big size, so you could maybe argue that we don't polarize as much, but I liked it. And considering he thought that hard about calling, makes me feel like I got a little bit unlucky that he folded. Harvey limping the ace-king suited. Playing it tricky, flops the ace. I have a 4. And the king of diamonds. Dang. What a setup.
What is setup? We're about to bluff raise.
I don't remember what happens. I know I'm not check raising, but I don't really.
Seems very reasonable.
Yeah. I did have a lot of mischievous thoughts
Yeah.
on the turn, especially because it comes a queen,
Ooh.
and now I block king jack.
I don't blame you. It's a pretty good candidate right there.
Block king jack, block 2 pairs.
Get to bluff on a diamond after you
Yeah,
check raise.
exactly. Get the bluff on a diamond. Block the nut
Could
flip.
hit a king, a 4, or a jack.
He overbets though,
Oh, spicy.
and I just decide this is not my spot.
Oh, he cost himself right there. He would have made a play at that one, I bet.
Yeah,
Nice.
I was thinking about it.
Good fold.
Yeah,
Good fold. Escaped unscathed.
hard to continue. Hard to continue versus an overbet. Definitely would be interesting if he goes like half pot or something. What I would do. I still don't. I mean, we have like a lot of creative candidates, but at the end of the day, all we have is bottom pair. So, would have been a tougher decision for sure versus smaller bet. I don't know what I think about his sizing. He's thinking that his hand is under repped because he limped, but I know that he's going to be limping strong hands. So when he goes that size, he's saying he has one of those like strong hands that limped or a bluff. And I mean, it puts me in a really hard spot if I have like an ace. But I don't know, it's pretty, I don't know like how many worse hands will call the overbet there. Could see just betting my whole range for a half pot on a queen turn. Okay. We make trips again. Yep, here we go. Third time we have trips. He's got a gut shot. I raise pre, he calls, turn, check, check. So up until now, I had been betting every pair that I flop, from what I've seen, and decide to check back this time with the bottom pair and the king. Now I get trips on the turn, and again with the sizes, I really just thought I could bet quarter pot. Quarter seems kind of nice, but just resort to the default half pot. Whenever I'm not sure which size I like the most, I just go with the middle, the average.
I think half pot seems very reasonable there. I like it.
Yeah, still have a flush draw on board and hands that can continue. All right, we're getting close to the end, I would guess. The blinds are going up. This was such a fun match, a lot of back and forth, a lot of big plays. He got me with the river check raise with the king 8. I got him with the queen high hero call. Had a lot of fun spots. Now we're both, well, Harvey's down to 14 big blinds. I have 23 big blinds, but both, not a lot of big blinds in play all around. We were hoping to get Harvey actually to come and commentate this with me, but he's got a busy schedule being a student and an athlete. So he unfortunately could not make it out. This is an interesting hand too. I decide to lead with the backdoor clubs and backdoor straight draws on a paired board, which I don't mind. when he calls, I'm putting him on a lot of like ace high, king high, and pair type of hands. He could definitely have some lighter floats too, maybe like a 9-8 or something. I don't know, but it gets kind of tricky on the turn. I turn a gut shot. I have 5 high. Could argue that I should just keep betting. And I still have ace high in my range, but I was just thinking like he has so many ace X. Just felt like he has a lot of hands that aren't gonna fold the turn. And like when I bet the ace, my value is getting way more polar. You know, like what would I do with like 2 5s here, 2 4s, a deuce, stuff like that. Once turn goes check, check, I have another decision on the river. Can't win the hand if we check, but at the same time, is he gonna fold any hands that call the flop? I decide not to go for it. Just kind of a...
You said you win before he even checked.
No, that was just the audio.
Oh, that was in delay. Okay.
That would be funny.
Yeah, I got the nut low. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah. I really don't mind my play on that one.
I think I like betting on the turn after you bet the flop.
I think I like the
It's
flop
like a good
bet.
card for you for what you're hoping would happen. Develops your hand some, and it's a scare card, and it's you could have an ace for sure.
Yeah.
Just keep betting.
That's true. I like betting.
He limped in, so he doesn't have that many aces.
I mean,
It's kind of a bad card for his range.
doesn't have that. I mean, I think he. I mean, yeah, they're discounted, but I think he still has them. I mean, he just
Well, of
limped
course,
with
he could
ace
still
king.
have them, but
He was limping a lot. But you're right. I mean, we picked up equity and we have 5 highs, so just fire turn and he might fold.
I think the ace is
A lot
just
of
deceptively a better card for us than it is for him.
Yeah, that's fair. And we can always give up on the river if we get called
Yeah,
twice.
sure. I mean,
Or
felt like our hand just developed nicely when we had a plan, and then we get a good scare card, and it
yeah.
improves us.
In the moment, I didn't really... It is a good scare card, but I also felt like the ace just interacts a lot with his pre-flop limps and then flop calls, you know? Like when he calls flop, ace high is going to be a big portion of that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. It's not like it's going to work every time.
Sure.
I think it's going to work enough that I'd rather... I mean, you have no showdown
I was
value at all.
also just thinking, like, when I bet turn, I'm repping like a 10 and an ace. But I have a lot of those in the big blind. You're right. I should probably just keep going.
I mean, you have no showdown value, but you still have a chance to win. You still have a chance to, like, make the best hand or win, actually. Just win with a bet on the turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I have 5 high. I'm supposed to bet, but
Ooh, got him. Past Chris coming in with the words of wisdom.
It doesn't make that much sense.
yeah.
You probably can.
I just in the moment felt like he was going to get sticky. But I think giving up river is better than giving up turn.
Yeah. On the turn, you still have some equity you can bet. On the river, you got none.
And I've shown.
And shown weakness already. Yeah, like, wasn't it a paired board with 10s?
Yeah.
So you could just have a 10
I
for
know.
sure.
I know.
No, you can't.
I'm convinced.
He's won over, guys.
Got to bet the turn sometimes, guys. Like if you start a bluff, sometimes you got to follow through.
Just gotta go. Just keep going. Jeremy says, hi, stream. Hey, Jeremy. Glad you're here, buddy. We are on the third match. This is the finals. And we have Harvey coming in with this.
No, he just limps.
Oh, okay, okay.
And we have ace 10 in the big blind. Another question mark for me off of 18 bigs. My thinking was I don't want to raise, call a jam, and I don't want to raise fold, so I'm going to check.
I think we talked about this one too, and I
Yeah.
think at this specific stack size, it seems okay.
Yeah. Ends up being weird. Ends up playing out weird. Where
Yeah, get a very interesting turn card
yeah,
here.
flop goes check, check. Turn brings open-ended, and I have the ace of clubs. You could argue I should just bet turn, but I still have ace high.
I think there's an argument for raising pre-flop or betting a blind on the flop or betting the turn, but also checking makes sense in all three situations too.
And now he bets pot, I think. Yeah, because we limped pre. So he bets 4 into 4, putting me in a really awkward spot.
Yeah, he
I
does.
thought about just jamming turn.
Oh,
Yeah.
got him.
It was going to be hard for me to win on the river no matter what card came. If I don't improve. So that makes me question my play. I thought about check jamming turn. Like I said, we have a reasonable candidate to do that.
Jay Frodem saying, how many players bought into this? This was an 8-player tournament, so there's 3 rounds. We have actually already done round 1 and round 2, so you can go back and watch those later. And this is the finals. It is Harvey, the kid in the blue there, the top of your screen. He has been on our feature table here all the way, won his first 2 matches, and has made it here to the finals. And then here on the screen in front of you there, that is Chris. He's here in the booth with us helping review this match.
What's up, everybody?
And they have been battling back and forth here. It has been a heated battle, honestly. These guys have been just taking swings at each other as the stacks get shorter when the blinds go up, and they have now made it down to some short stack play. You see Harvey's got 20 blinds there, and Chris has about 18.
Yeah, and this is the first of the best of 3 for the final. First match of the best of 3. And I guess, yeah. We'll see what happens. Flop a pair again. Felt like I was hitting some flops, which is nice. He floats with the 7-3. Very surprising. I don't like this personally from him. I mean, he's got a 3 in his hand. I mean, he's got 1 under. Well, I mean, I guess he's got 2 overs to a deuce, but, and then having overs to a 4 doesn't really matter, but I would just rather have higher cards. I feel like it's going to be hard to win with a 7-3. I end up betting twice with my deuce to get max protection and to have a, because I think I can still get more value. I think he's floating a lot on the flop, which clearly he was with 7-3.
Yeah.
And I can continue to get value from like ace high, king high, and just deny equity versus.
Yeah. I think that's an underrated
Whatever.
benefit to betting.
Yeah.
Just denying equity and keeping control of the hand. There's just so many combos floating around out there in heads-up play that you just don't want to give your opponent a chance to take over those aggressive aspects of the hand that allow you to win without the best cards. You want to be the one who's giving yourself a chance to win without or with the best cards.
Yeah. And specifically with the deuce, like every river card is an overcard to our hand, so don't like checking and giving it away. Look, I mean, here he comes in again with the limp with 2-10, so I mean, he's definitely like mixing in strong hands and weak hands, which makes me, I don't know, feel pretty good about having a more polar raising range. It sucks to raise a hand like Jack-10 suited and then get jammed on and not get to see the flop. Catch what I'm saying?
Oh, I'm catching what you're saying. I'm here for it, my man, as are 24 of our best friends here in the chat. Appreciate you guys being with us. Click that like button for us. We'd appreciate it. Been rolling for over 3 hours here in the booth.
Yeah, Harvey made several good folds. I gotta give him props.
No doubt. You guys have both played really well.
Folded both times that I had trips and he had a pair, which is not easy to do heads up. So good job him. Also made some fun plays, like I already said. We were definitely both trying to put each other in some spots. So here, what happens? Oh yeah, I raise and he 3-bets. Is that what happened? Oh no, I just jam. Okay. I just rip tens for 13 big blinds, which is not, I mean, it's not bad, but I don't know if it's the best.
I feel like it's definitely an acceptable play in a normal tournament setting. I feel like I'm scared to let him off the hook that easy with a hand so strong in a setting like this. I kind of want to keep him in there and milk him, but
Yeah, well, so would you like min raise sometimes?
yeah, 2.5, whatever.
Or would you just limp?
I mean, I don't think I'd hardly ever limp tens.
It is nice to, I mean, it's nice to like raise this hand and then give him the chance to sometimes jam over
Yeah,
our
he jams
raise.
there or just calls
like
with a worse hand. My hand's so valuable, but I don't want to limp and allow a bunch of overcards to come either.
I mean, that's part of what factored into my jam. I was like, I think he'll call lighter than some other people might.
That's probably true, but I think he's also going to fold like 90% of the time, and then I feel sad that my really, really strong hand passed by and only won 1 blind.
So now he
Maybe
limps and I jam king 7. Which, like I said, you hear me say, scary one.
Yeah.
Don't want to get called.
No, you don't. That one seems pretty good, though.
But
I think the other option with that hand is just a check.
Definitely,
So I
yeah.
don't mind using it as a blind stealer.
yeah. Just hope he doesn't have a big hand.
Yeah.
We got a king, so. And we got a 7, which factors into like being able to flip against some small pairs.
Yeah. And I think you can kind of get away with that a couple of times and then maybe reanalyze like if he's going to try and start trapping you.
Yeah. Yeah, the 10s did feel kind of like I let him off the hook a little bit after the jam, but
Yeah, just makes me sad. But like when you jam the king 7 and then he folds, and you're like happy about that. But when you jam the 10s and he folds, you're kind of like, meh.
yeah,
Like, oh,
you're like
missed
hoping
opportunity.
you're like hoping the money goes in.
My cards are so good.
But at the same time, it's like, yeah, min raising. I just got to think more about these. Really don't know. I mean, I guess you're advocating for having a limping range with limp traps and limp folds, and having a min raising range with raise calls and raise folds. It's a lot to think about.
But I mean, it just kind of happens on its own, you know.
It's a lot to organize. You could argue for just limping everything. But then feels like you miss some opportunities too. Let's see what happens here. We check it down and we suck out. Look at that. He had a 3, we hit an 8. I think I want to say I bet 1 big blind in this. Yeah, 1 big blind is half pot, so maybe I check. I don't know. Hard pressed to think that I check. Yeah, bet 1 big blind. Man, I want to say that Harvey folds again, which just goes to show. Yeah, look at that. He gets away again from second best, so good job, Harvey. Found a lot of good folds. I was making some strong hands, and he was second best, and looks like he got away from all of them, really. Trying to think if I got paid off in any spots.
Harvey commenting, you guys have been battling for a while now. No one giving up easily. We have started to see all the chips go in a couple of times, though, as we are down to 14 and 10 blinds here, guys, and that means it is inevitable that this match will end soon. And even having a 2 or 3 big blind advantage right now can be huge, because that first all-in confrontation, one of these guys is going to be at risk for it all to end. And it is you with the chip advantage right now. Is that right?
Yeah.
And you hear Chris talking there, too, about how this best 2 out of 3 match, we only got this first match recorded for you guys. Unfortunately, the remaining match or matches, not going to give that away, were the place was taken by another stream. So
Here we have pocket queens versus ace jack.
And boys.
We just call on the button.
And yeah, we're going to see all this go in right here when you got 10 blinds left. The chips are in the middle. Harvey sees the bad news, and here we go, boys. Oh, and in the window, it's an ace from space. Oh, no, and now Chris needs...
Do we have a baby crying sound effect? Because that's how I felt.
We got this.
We got the wah wah.
Oh, for Chris and for Harvey, we've got the applause.
Yeah, it all comes down to this one big pot at the end of the day.
Big pot right there, boys, and that's all it takes when you get down to 10 blinds. An open, a shove. Chris has the goods, but it's no good this time. And that will officially end this first
It's actually not
heads-up
over
match.
yet.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot that Harvey was the shorter chip stack. We're still in the mix, boys.
Yeah, it's not over yet.
We are still in the mix.
But that's tournament poker for you. You battle, and the blinds go up, and then you eventually just get 2 hands all in, and it's a toss-up. I was definitely disappointed to see the ace, but as I said to Harvey when the chips went in, it was cooler either way for both of us. Ace jack is obviously slam dunk, and now I have 5 big blinds, so we're still in there. We can run it up. Yeah, and like Nick was saying, unfortunately, we only got 1 game on stream because they ended up having a cash live stream after this. Harvey jams queen jack. I have 5 big blinds with 9-8. And kind of a tough decision for me personally. Don't know what's best. We'll just see what I do. Actually, it says I have 4 big blinds. I think I had...
I don't think that includes the one that you put in the middle.
I think I had 5 with the blind. But I decided to call with 9-8. I mean, we have 35% equity, so... Here we go.
And now, we're going to need some help, boys.
If I was on
and it's dead. Oh, no. We're dead.
Yeah.
And the dream is dead for this first match. And that is it.
Dream is dead.
There's Harvey shaking it out. Your winner of this first match.
So I'll just...
And let's go ahead and put on the commentary booth here for a second. We can give him a little rundown. Let's go max camera. And then you can.
Cool.
There we are, boys. What's up, guys?
Hey, guys.
Welcome to the booth.
Yeah, so, again, well played to Harvey. I'm happy with my play overall. And there's always things you could do differently in poker, but that's the nature of the game. Very happy that we got to have this on camera. It was a lot of fun. And so the rest of the tournament, since that is not recorded, I'll just give you a quick debrief. Harvey and I played again our second match off stream. This first match was, I guess, between an hour and a half to 2 hours. So we were expecting to really go the distance based on the way this one played out. But we played our second match and didn't play more than 20 minutes before all the chips went into the middle. I'll just tell you guys one big hand. Harvey raises button. I 3-bet the big blind with pocket kings. Harvey ends up 4-bet jamming. This was the only 4-bet of the whole of both of our matches. He 4-bet jams for a 60 big blind stack. We call it off, of course, with 2 kings. Harvey has pocket sixes, and flop comes jack, 6, 3, something with a 6 on it. He flops a set, and that one was also, I was slightly ahead in chips, so we don't improve. He wins a huge pot, and then the very next hand, ironically, I get it in with 5 big blinds again, with pocket sixes in my hand this time.
Aww.
And Harvey has king queen and king high flop.
Agony.
So second match really came down to just those 2 hands. I mean, we were probably only in the second level or so. Unlucky result there, but you know, either match could have gone either way, and it was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And we've got a guest here in the booth.
Hey guys.
Hey, where's the... Throw on those headphones for a second, Frankie. Where are they?
Here.
We're just wrapping it up here, actually. Chris just finished up this heads-up match with Harvey, and we only had the first one on video on a 2 out of 3. So he was reviewing the second one for us, and we got Mr. Frankie from Next Gen Poker just popping by.
Just want to say congrats to Chris for getting second place. That's still an awesome score.
Thank you.
I know you guys already racked up a good win already before that game even started, and you guys agreed to play for $1,000, which I like that. You know, take the stakes down just a tiny bit for just a heads-up game. Obviously, a lot of variance. We see with the Queens versus Ace Jack, the sixes hand, a ton of variance in heads-up, which is why I'm intimidated by heads-up, but also why I think it's also a really cool tournament and a really, really good thing that Poker House did this series. So congrats to Chris for being the first person to play in it and get second place. Obviously, Harvey's a good friend of all of ours, so we're happy for him too.
No
yeah,
doubt.
and congrats, Harvey, on first place.
For this tournament,
Well
and
earned.
congrats on 6th place in that mystery bounty the very next day.
Yeah, he's crushing.
Huge score for that.
I sent him a text. Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome back-to-back results. And what a feat to come in and play probably his first heads-up tournament by the sound of it. And to best of field of 8 and to take first place, we had to win, I guess, two matches and then best of 3, which was 2 more matches for him. So
4-0.
Yeah, 4-0 for Harvey.
Nice, Harvey. Congratulations,
Nice
buddy.
work.
Congratulations to all of our competitors. That was fun to watch, and appreciate all of you viewers being here in the chat with us, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe to Poker House, like the stream, support everyone here in the community. Got another live stream right after this. They're playing, I think, 1-2 out there.
Nice.
So a 1-2 game. So for you guys, maybe if you're in the room, you can come play. I know there's only about 6 seats full right now. So your 1-2 is about to go live. So excited for that here at Poker House Dallas. Make sure to subscribe. And yeah, Chris, congrats. Thank you guys for watching.
All right, guys.
Next gen out.
See ya.
Bye.
Peace.